Well, if you're looking for a good time program, this is not going to be the one here tonight. We've got some sobering, excruciating things to go over here. You all remember a few months ago when I was going over the cost of things, when I was going over working until you die, when I was going over the wealth killer. You remember when I was doing that? Well, I got a few updates for you here tonight. You remember back then, they were going over the numbers back then, and the average new car price had hit a record $46,259. That's what I covered then, $46,259. That was the average new car price when I covered this back around July. Well, it's been updated since then. It has been updated since then. And oh boy, Katie, bar the damn door. New vehicle average transaction price increased to $48,000. Now, you know, that used to be the cost of a well-equipped car or a top trim level. Now that's just the average price. And while the car market does appear to be softening right now, the bottom line is it's not going into collapse. I don't care what anybody on YouTube is telling you. It's not going into collapse. It's softening a bit, but it's not going into collapse. And that's the new normal. However, on top of everything else, something else happened. Now, you'll all remember, if you've been watching my program here for any length of time, you'll all remember that I've been saying for years and years now, for those of you who follow me for over the last decade, I made it very, very clear where I stood as far as how much money you needed to retire. When I started broadcasting on the internet, going on 15 years ago now, all your financial advisors were saying you need to have $500,000 to $1 million. That's what they said. You need to have $500,000 to $1 million. And I sat there and heard that, and I said, I know that's not correct, because my number back then was that you needed at least $1 million to $2 million. And as you all know, I have been completely consistent in that regard. While everybody else said you need $1 million, I always said you needed to have at least $2 million. Susie Orman joined me in that as well. Susie Orman joined me in that as well when she was saying that, yeah, you need to have $2 million. Sounds like you got somebody who knows what they're talking about. But then I went even further and I said, you know what? The real number needs to be closer to $3 million. I said that then. And if you all remember, I've been showing the same graphic that I made months and months and months ago, where I was saying, by the way, that number actually needs to be closer to between $3 to $5 million. And I gave you a target there of $4 million. Well, nobody was saying this. Nobody. No one anywhere was saying this. And I've been saying this for a while now. I've been saying this for years. None of these other media outlets, no one was saying any of this. No one said this. No one said this until now. No one said this until now. Guess what? Now they're saying what we've been saying here the entire time. I've been saying this the entire time. If you've been listening to the corporate media outlets and all these websites and whatnot, you're way damn behind. I've been saying this consistently the entire time. Never changed my tune, never changed the number. Now these other folks are catching up. We're going to take a deep dive into this tonight. If you like what you're hearing on tonight's program, give me a thumbs up. I know that this is some of that dry, academic, numerical thing that upsets a lot of people, because I'm going to bust you in the face tonight with brutal reality. But if you like what you're hearing here tonight, Give me a thumbs up in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. Or otherwise, I figure you all are just depressed by what I'm talking about, and we'll just wrap things up and let you go have a beer tonight or something. Coming here from GoBankingRates.com, thanks to inflation, Generation Z and Millennials will now need $3 million in retirement savings to live comfortably. This is a lie. It is not because of, quote, inflation. This is the new normal in America, is what I'm trying to tell you. This is not inflation. This is the new normal. Folks were talking about in 2008, the Great Recession. Oh, well, don't worry. Things are going to return to normal. They were lying. They didn't know what the hell they were talking about. This is the new normal. You're not going to go back to paying $180,000 for a house. $300,000 and up is the new normal. You're not going to go back to any of the things that you were used to. Folk been waiting all this damn time for housing prices to return to $200,000 and less. They're still waiting. It's not happening. This is the new normal. It's not inflation. It's not because of a pandemic. The number has been going up the entire damn time. If you take a look at the housing prices from 2012 to 2020, you can see it had already taken off by 2013, 2014. It had already taken off. So the title is misleading. Now, I want you all to remember something. When we talk about millennials, you're talking about folks who were born in 1981. So you have a number of folks now who are over the age of 40. When you think about millennials, y'all, a lot of you are still thinking about high schoolers or college kids or maybe early 30s. No, you got some folks who are 41, 42 years old. Millennials. So you got a bunch of folk who are over the age of 40 now. The millennials who are over the age of 40. 40. When you talk about millennials and Generation Z. Now, the article says it's long been a rule of thumb to have $1 million saved for a comfortable retirement. Did I tell you? Did I call it? Or did I call it? But thanks to inflation, the youngest generation of workers likely will need 3 times as much. According to a recent analysis conducted by Wealthcare Financial, by the time Generation Z and Millennials retire, they'll need around $120,000 to $150,000 per year to live comfortably, making $3 million the average amount they need to retire. Remember, if they're 40 years old right now, they're not going to be able to retire for another 20, 25 years. So how much are you going to need to retire in 20 or 25 years from now? That's the whole point to anyone questioning these numbers. It goes on to say that inflation is making it more expensive to retire. The cost of living has risen sharply over the past couple of years, with home and rent prices, as well as the cost of groceries, gas, and other daily essentials skyrocketing. Things will be even more expensive by the time younger generations retire. That's why Wealthcare Financial experts believe Generation Z and Millennials should aim to save $3 million for retirement. Quote, inflation plays a big role when we are planning for retirement, especially for the younger generations, because the price of necessities will go up over the course of their lifetime, said Sean Tarzi, managing partner at Wealthcare Financial. However, Tarzi notes that not everyone will need $3 million to retire. That figure assumes that you will need $150,000 per year for a 20-year retirement. $3 million is the upper end of the range that will be needed depending on current income, he said. So Generation Z and Millennials should use this as a goal, but not necessarily the amount they absolutely have to save to retire. Are Gen Z and Millennials saving enough for retirement? Now, listen to this part. The Wealthcare Financial study found that across age groups, clients contribute an average of $500 to their retirement per month. But is that enough? Quote, unfortunately, that isn't enough for anyone making over $40,000 a year, said Michael Baggiano, managing partner at Wealth Care Financial. Let me say this again. If you're only putting away $500 a month, $500 a month for just your retirement, not your rent, not your car note, not disposable income. If you're not socking away $500, if you're socking away $500 a month, you're still not putting in enough. Even if you make $40,000 a year, that's well below median income. Well below median income. They're confirming everything I've said. $40,000 a year. Now that's right where black folks' average income is. But if you're putting away $500 a month, if you make $40,000 a year, $500 a month isn't enough. Now listen to what he says next. Michael Baggiano says, quote, typically the rule of thumb is to be contributing 15 to 20% of your gross income. If you're able to contribute more, you absolutely should. 15 to 20% of your gross income. Folks, do you understand 15 to 20% of your gross income? Typically speaking, your rent is usually going to be about 25, should be no more than 1/3 of your gross income. Your rent should be between 25% and 33% of your gross income. Your rent. So in other words, those of you listening to me right now, if you are not putting away the same amount of money that you pay in rent or your mortgage, if you're not putting that away into your retirement, you're not putting in enough. And by the time you get to retirement, there's going to be a shortfall. So yeah, if you're paying $1,500, $1,700, $2,000 a month in rent, you probably need to be putting away the exact same amount for retirement. Well, guess what? That means you need to be making at least $4,000, although by the time you get to the end of the year, that's $48,000. So, but you're going to, now we're not even talking about everything else. Whether you have a car note, utilities, groceries, do you have children? So for those of you who didn't know, you really need to be putting away 15 to 20% of your monthly gross income, which is probably close to what you're paying in rent. And the overwhelming majority of people are not doing that. They go on to say what to do if you're falling behind on your retirement savings goals. Now, here's where every article tries to end things on a happy note, but there is no happy note to end it on. It's just fantasy and fairy tales at this point. But I'm going to read it anyway. According to the Wealth Care Financial Report, Gen Z and Millennials should have $500,000. $500,000 in retirement savings by age 25. Let me say that again. According to Wealth Care Financial Report, Generation Z and Millennials should have $500,000, $500,000 saved in retirement by the age of 25. They should have double that, $1 million by the age of 40, $2 million by the age of 50, and $3 million by the age of 60. Yeah, you heard that right. You heard that correctly. It says if you're currently off pace, there are some steps you can take to catch up. Get the hell out of here. Anyway, it says, quote, Gen Z and Millennials should start by taking advantage of any employer 401k match offered to them while contributing at least 3% of their income as well, Tarzi said. Those without an employer match, so if you work for an employer that doesn't match 401k contributions, should be taking advantage of any future retirement tax breaks by maxing out a Roth IRA every year and investing additional cash where they can. So in other words, if your employer doesn't match your 401k contributions, you better put in enough to make up that shortfall. You better put in enough for that. You'll have to make up the difference by yourself. They go on to say that investing wisely can also help these generations reach their lofty retirement savings goals. Quote, they should be taking these contributions and investing them aggressively. Now, for those of you who understand stock markets, when somebody says aggressively, that means risky. Now, that doesn't mean blue chip stocks. Aggressively means risky stuff. And there's a bunch of you right now, you watch your 401k accounts in just the last year, you watched it fall by 50% or more. Yes, when you invest, quote, aggressively, you can make higher returns, but that means you have to invest in riskier things, more dangerous things, more speculative things. And anybody with a 401k right now, you watched yours go in the tank in the last year. And they're saying, you know what? You need to invest more aggressively. If you're behind, you have to be aggressive. In other words, you have to be risky. Quote, a good place to start is an index fund like the S&P 500, which has historically delivered a return rate of about 10.5%. To keep up with inflation, Tarzi recommends increasing your retirement contributions whenever possible. Quote, we recommend putting your raises into your retirement account, he said. Dropping an extra $1,000 or more a year into your 401k can dramatically improve your savings over time thanks to compounding interest. Folks, let me tell you something right now. You heard what they said, that you need to be 25 years old making $500,000. Even if we are generous and say, you know what, screw it, let's just go for half the amount they have on this screen, $1.5 million. Do you understand that if you have less than $100,000 in your retirement savings account, and you are 40 years old or older, you're already too damn far behind. Let me say that again. If you are 40 years old and you've only got $100,000 in your retirement savings account, you are already too damn far behind. Already. There's a reason why I bring these things up. You're already too far behind. If you're 40 and you squandered the last 20 years, math is math. Math is math. You might not have been paying attention. You might not have thought very much of it. You might have said, screw it, YOLO. Okay, math is about to put the meter stick on your ass, the yardstick on your ass. I want you all to understand, even if you disregard the metrics that they gave you, that you need to have $500,000 by the age of 25 and $1 million by 40, even if we cut all of that in half or even to a third, you're not gonna make it to the numbers you need to have by then. By the time you get to age 40, folks, you need to have $300,000 or so if you're going to do half these numbers. Then by the time you get to 50, maybe you'll be at 600,000, 700,000. And by the time you get to 60, then maybe you'll be at 1 million, 1.2 million by then. Do you see what I'm talking about? You would really need to have $300,000 or so by the age of 40. You can't be 40 years old today with $50,000 damn dollars in your 401k and think you're going to be able to retire by the age of 65. The math won't allow it. There's no way to get there from here. I'm just talking about math now. I'm just referring to math. When you walk these numbers out to their natural conclusion, you can't get there. If you're 40 years old, if you're 30 years old, and you only have $50,000 in your retirement account, in your 401k, you probably won't be able to make it either. What I'm telling you is that you will not be able to afford to retire. You won't be able to. The cost of everything is going up too damn much. You won't be able to. Or at least your retirement years aren't going to look anything like what you're currently telling yourself it's going to look like. Soft and cushy and comfortable. Forget about it. More like part-time job at least. Because you will need it. Because the numbers will not be there. I'm telling everyone tonight, if you are age 40 or older, and you don't have at least a couple of $100,000 in your 401k, you are in trouble. You're already in trouble. You're not on your way. You're already there. That's even if you take this at half the numbers that they're saying. In other words, going back to that $1 million, you still can't make that. If you live in Los Angeles, forget about it. Oakland, San Diego, San Francisco, California, pretty much, it ain't gonna work for you. If you live in the New England states, God almighty help you, Boston, ain't gonna work for you. I'm not even naming New York. We're not going to use the usual poster child. You ain't going to make it. There's no way you can. For those of you who live in Minneapolis, a lot of folk don't think of Minneapolis in that regard. Minneapolis is becoming an expensive ass place to be. With the police choking folk to death. It's an expensive ass place to be. My home away from home, my old stomping grounds, Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas is foot to the floor to become the Los Angeles of the South. They want to overtake Houston, Austin, and every damn thing else as the economic hub. And they're on their way. But guess what? Austin, Texas has said we want to be the San Francisco of Texas. If Dallas wants to be the Los Angeles of Texas, Austin said we want to be the San Francisco of Texas. Younger, trendier, and they're building plants all around Austin. Semiconductor plants. Elon Musk's new gigafactory is there and don't have nearly enough housing for the people there. That's Austin, Texas. Austin, not Houston, not Dallas, not Galveston, not Fort Worth. Austin. And any of my people who live in Austin will bear me witness. It's expensive as hell now. Go down the street on Interstate 20. You can leap over Louisiana altogether, except New Orleans. Leap over Louisiana altogether. Leap over Mississippi altogether. We'll just go ahead and leapfrog Alabama too. Splash land over there in Georgia. Atlanta, give it up. Give it up. Need I say more? The state of Florida, the only place that's still reasonably priced in Florida right now is the damn Panhandle. Once you hit Jacksonville, that's a wrap. Or at least Jacksonville is on the ropes. Once you get down lower than that, was it like Central Florida, Tampa, Orlando? Tom Brady is there now. Disney was already in Orlando. Forget it, man. Central Florida's gone. Central Florida South is gone. Whole damn state. That's it. It's over. It's over right now. Right this moment, today, it's over. And by the way, speaking of Georgia, we can talk about Augusta. Everybody talks about Atlanta. Y'all know I've been reminding you for years and years. Hey, what about Augusta? What about Augusta, Georgia? Nobody wants to talk about Augusta. And Augusta wants to be a model for the rest of the damn state. This big sleepy ass suburban community that costs too damn much to be there. Then you move on up into the Carolinas. Because you see, folks from New York have been trying, particularly black folk in New York, have been trying to use the Carolinas as their little secret. That, well, if I'll sell my brownstone in New York and move down to the Carolinas. They got a big ass surprise coming in the Carolinas. Shout out Raleigh, Greensboro, Durham, Charlotte, Charleston. Charleston, South Carolina. I just came back from there a couple of months ago. They're building this big ass, mega expensive resort Lowe's down there on the damn riverfront. It looks like anything from Haight-Ashbury or San Francisco down there now. In Charleston, South Carolina. Luxury condos being built right off the freeway. Y'all saw I put pictures of them up on my Twitter. Right off the freeway. Luxury condos. Right off the freeway. Not just one of them. Two or three luxury high-rise condos they're building in Charleston, South Carolina. A place most of you never heard of, never been to, and be like, why would anybody build a luxury anything there? Why would anyone build a luxury anything there? And they're based, and that's the same place where Dylan Roof shot up a bunch of black folk at the church. Same city, exact same city. And they got multi-mega million-dollar developments that they are building right around the corner from where he gunned those people down. Right around the corner. I've been there. I got it on video. I've been there. We can keep going down the list. You ain't gonna like it. New Mexico, Montana. Bunch of folk from California been flooding out there now. Arizona, Phoenix, Tucson. What? Nevada, Vegas. Anything around there, please. I can keep going. Oregon, the whole state of Oregon, forget it. Portland, you're done. Seattle, you're done. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're done. Now, to anybody talking about the deep South states, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, you can go, but you can't go unless you're a retiree. If you're a working person in your working age, it won't work for you. It won't work for you. You're not going to make $70,000 a year at the age of 29 in Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. You're not going to get that kind of money there. So you can go after you've retired, but if you're a young person, you ain't going to be able to stack the paper like that. You're not going to be able to do it like that. So yeah, after you get done, you can do that. And we're talking about young folk now. We're talking about young people now. They're not ready for that. They're not ready for that. They're not ready to take on that kind of responsibility. They're not ready to take on that kind of headache. They're not ready to have to deal with that. They're not prepared. I'm talking about the millennials who are in their 40s now. They've been working and putting money away and are just not ready for the fact that when they start counting the pennies the way they need to be, they're going to be living in a place that's going to be twice as expensive as it currently is. Once upon a time, we thought that $2,000 a month in rent was insane in New York. It is in 20 years, that'll be everywhere. That will be the norm everywhere. $4,000 a month is already the norm, is already the average in Manhattan. Remember, I covered that before. $4,000 a month is already the average in Manhattan. Already. Well, guess what? It'll be the same everywhere else. It'll be the same everywhere else. Remember, I did this story already. Rents across the U.S. are above $2,000 a month for the first time ever. That's across the country. You're already at that being something that you're seeing now is going to be the norm. And from there, everywhere is New York. You're on your way now. You're on your way right now. Why am I bringing this up? Why am I having this incredibly somber, sobering program with you all here tonight? I'm here to make a simple point to you. Math doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your sensibilities. It doesn't care about who you're beefing with. It doesn't care about what you like or what you don't like. It doesn't care about what job you want to have or what you want to do. You are going to conform or you will work until you die. There is no evading the numbers. You will conform or you will work until you die. And by the way, I'm being rather generous right now because I haven't included the things that usually happen. As you get older, when I worked in corporate America, they had a saying that don't make fun of the disabled because we are all temporarily enabled. As you get older, you're going to start having health issues. By definition, when you get over the age of 40, your vision begins to shift. The muscles in the eyes don't tighten like the way they used to. So once you get over the age of 40, any eye doctor will tell you once you get over the age of 40, your vision starts to shift. If you're already wearing glasses, sometimes you have to start wearing bifocals. So that's one basic thing. But by the way, arthritis, knee issues, hip issues, you've got 40, 50 years of wear and tear. Joint issues, rotator cuffs. For those of us who've been lifting weights and things our whole lives, you know that over time we start having rotator cuff issues. Tennis elbow. You start having those kind of issues. Didn't make it to 40. For anybody with an athletic background, or if you lift heavy weights, my hand's up right now. I'll tell you that much right there. You start having issues before you get to 40. You won't make it to 40 before you have anybody who's been to the gym. If you do serious workout at the gym, you're going to get an injury. Hell, you're going to get an injury in your teens. You have one in your 20s. Next thing you know, you have an injury that it becomes what they call a nagging injury. It never stops hurting. Like the hurting goes down, but it never stops completely. So now you got a messed up rotator cuff. You got a messed up elbow. You got a messed up wrist. Now, you're not disabled per se. You can still work and do a lot of things, but your body is letting you know this particular injury is not gonna go away. This is your new normal. This is your new normal. Those of you who work as nurses, a lot of females been hiding out in nursing for decades. I don't know a single nurse that doesn't have a back injury or a knee injury. I don't know a single one over the age of 40 who doesn't have a back injury, a back problem, or a knee problem. Those are the two major things that I've seen in my life with female nurses my entire life. When they go, you find one who's over the age of 40 and she is gonna guaranteed be complaining about a back injury or a knee problem. And she ain't even doing heavy weight. She's not even doing what the males do. You got a nursing job. And you already got messed up knees, messed up hips, messed up back, but you still got to work. You still got to work. As you get older. In the chat room, I ain't even named I haven't even named chronic conditions like diabetes. Yeah, I haven't even named the chronic stuff, high blood pressure. I haven't even named that. I'm just going to the stuff that most people are going to encounter. I'm not even going to name stuff like cancer. I'm just going to the things that most individuals ordinarily or routinely encounter. What I'm saying is, do you think you're going to be a 70-year-old nurse? You think that's going to be you? Let me ask a bigger question. Do you think you're going to be a 60-year-old nurse? Damn, 70. Do you think you're going to make it to 60? How about those of you who are teachers? You got a bunch of chicks out here with desk jobs. Y'all been hiding forever. You're not doing the same amount of work men are by any stretch of the imagination. Been hiding for decades. Carpal tunnel is enough to sit you down. Do you really think that you are going to be a 68-year-old school teacher? 68-year-old professor? Do you really think you're going to be doing that? Whatever office or corporate job you got, you think you're really going to be doing that? You think that's really going to be happening? You think that's where you're going to be at? Whole bunch of folk thought they were going to get work at home jobs. Now you're watching them say, oh, no. We're getting rid of all that right there. Back to work. Back to the office. I am simply sending out a warning here tonight to remind you that anybody who lied to you and told you that you were young and pretty and cute, you were special, your shoes will save you, your footwear attire is going to take care of anybody who told you that damn lie, you better say something now. Because math is going to catch up with you. Math is going to catch up with you. You know why? Because at some point, you are going to want to be living a simpler, easier life. Imagine this scenario I'm giving you right now, that you've made it to 40 years old. You've dodged the bullets. You've dodged the gangbangers. You've dodged the hood. You dodged the corrupt school system. You dodged the prison industrial complex. You dodged minimum wage. You actually had to make something there. You've made it to 40 years old, 42 years old, 45 years old. And you told yourself when you were 30, man, once I get to 40, 42 years old, I'm going to start easing back on what I'm doing, because by then I should be making more money, which should put me in a better position. So I can work real hard in my 20s and 30s. I can ease up in my 40s. What if I told you that by the time you get to your 40s, you're going to have to put foot to the floor and slam on the gas? What if I told you that by the time you get to the age of 40, you're going to have to smash the gas? You're going to have to be foot to the floor. At 40, you're going to be working harder and doing more than you've ever done. At 40. And by the way, God forbid something else occur, like a divorce. For the brain-addled generation out there talking about strong and independent, you do something dumb like get a divorce, and now you've just train wrecked yourself in your 40s. You've just destroyed and decimated your future in your 40s. When you're supposed to be halfway through the race and you just took yourself out of it. You just took yourself out. I know that a lot of you here, you don't have parents or kinfolk who discuss these kinds of things. They don't talk about these kind of things. They don't say anything about it. I understand. That can be hard. That can be hard. But I want you to understand that if you're listening to me right now tonight, you better take all of this to heart. If you don't have anybody in your family who discusses these kind of things at this level, who goes into this kind of detail and warns you, you better listen. Jason, what is the solution? I'm going to say it to you right now, just like it is. Nobody else is saying this. I'm going to say this to you. You will not like it, a lot of you, but it's the damn truth. And if no one else said this to you straight out like this, I'm going to say it to you. What is the solution? Get rich or die trying. Mic drop. It used to be that was the mentality that you had to have in New York City. I have always admired the brothers and the sisters in New York City because it's a hustle town, because it got to be. You can't survive in New York City if you ain't got some kind of hustle going. You can't make it. The environment will not allow it. I've been through all the 5 boroughs and Yonkers. And then now, even if you go upstate, I don't give a damn where you go. You can go to Valhalla, Rochester, Westchester, Tarrytown. It don't matter where the hell you are now. The whole damn place is blown out. Everybody gotta hustle. That's the mentality that everybody gotta have, because everybody knows the damn city gonna chew you up. It's gonna chew you up. You can't make it. If you don't have a hustle mentality, you ain't gonna make it. This place is gonna chew your ass up. Period. With no pity, no mercy. I mean, folks stepping over your ass on the subway. So I've always understood that about New York, and New York has always known that. So I've always respected that aspect of New York City because that's a place that gets it. They get it. Well, guess what? The rest of the country been taking it real easy. New York City been taking body blows now for 5-6 decades, and the rest of the country been sitting on its ass like, oh boy, it sure does suck to be a New Yorker. So glad I don't live up there. Now your ass lives in Charlotte. Now you live in Atlanta. Now you live in Jacksonville. Now you live in Philadelphia. Now you live in Boston. And if you ain't got the hustle mentality there, that you have to stay several steps ahead of the damn game. If you don't have that mentality, all these other cities now are here to chew you up. And here's the killing part. At least in New York City, you have some sort of protections with rent control and whatnot. The rest of the damn country ain't got that. Atlanta doesn't have that. I was in Atlanta New Year's night, 2020. I was there. I was there at the Westin. Y'all know I did the program bringing in 2021. Y'all know I did the program. And they had the sign in the damn lobby that said that they are the hotel under the state law. The hotel is not responsible for any of us being there. If we get sick from COVID, the hotel is not responsible. You can't sue them. You don't have those protections anywhere else. You don't have them. So you'll have the same requirements of a New York City, but none of the protections, the meager little protections that they got. You'll have none of that. What I'm telling you is that if you plan on being a working class American today, your ass is grass. Your ass is grass. In the chat room, FBA Honey Badger, the hustle got to be in you. It can't be in the city. The hustle got to be in you. Now, I do recommend that you be in a major city. As Professor Scott Galloway said, the more people you have around you, the better, because you have more people who are progressive economically to work with. But the hustle got to be in you. I can drop you off in Brooklyn tomorrow. If the hustle ain't in you, you're going to get ate up. So start with you. Don't start with the city. Start with you. Folks, it used to be that we were talking about these places were affluent, man. This is every damn where now. This is every damn where. My old stomping grounds, Plano, Texas, outside of Dallas proper. Man, you can't compare that now to what it was 25 years ago when I was there. You can't compare that now. Everywhere is like that. So what I'm saying is, if you are just the average working class person, let me tell you something. To my friends over there in the UK, they gonna feel what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know, London is essentially a gentrified city now. It's essentially a gentrified city. The whole damn thing. The whole damn thing. You trying to be a working class person living in London. And now you're seeing that. I'm telling you, that's what they plan for America. You're seeing it happen. You're seeing it happen. That if you are a working class person, you can't make it. That's the whole goal. All they want are affluent people. That's it. Everybody else gotta go. Everyone else has to go. Ain't no place for you. You have developed. I was reading a story the other day that said 50%. Half of the houses in DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, have been purchased by investors. Half of the new real estate has been purchased by investors. It's 2007, 2008 all over again on steroids. Didn't you know? And that's just Dallas-Fort Worth. You see the same damn thing in Portland, the same damn thing in Minneapolis, the same damn thing in Kansas City, the same damn thing in St. Louis. You see it everywhere. If you are telling me that you plan on being a, quote, working class person today, what you are telling me is that you plan on dying slow. This is no longer relegated or limited to New York City or Los Angeles or San Francisco. This is no longer confined to those areas. This is everywhere now. This is everywhere. Now, you've only got one of two ways to handle this. Number one, you've got to be one of the intelligent, creative, ambitious, innovative individuals who is able to just think your way through these things. And as Mr. Friedman said in that book that used to be Us, that, the smart kids have always done well. The Steve Jobs and the Elon Musks and the 50 Cents, the smart kid, the kid who's innovative and creative and sharp, those kids have always done well. But guess what? They're the top 5%. The other 95% ain't got it like that. If they weren't born to be if they didn't learn to be creative or an environment that, fostered creativity in them in that way, or got them to be in that top 5% where their brain works better and they figure things out quickly, those kids are always going to do well in any environment that you put them into. It's the other 95% you have to worry about. You can teach somebody a technical skill, but you can't teach somebody to be a creative thinker. I can teach you to be a technical thinker. I can't teach you to be a creative one. You either got it or you don't. You either got it or you don't. And right now, you'll have a bunch of dumbasses out here telling you about, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be all right. I ain't worried about what Jason talking about because, I'll just tighten my belt. Let me tell you something right now, folks. The car manufacturers love that number. They've made big profits in the last 2 years with a minimal amount of expense. General Motors wants to be one of the high profit margin companies. They've already said that their plan is to overtake Tesla. General Motors. And Ford is right behind them. In other words, they don't want any more cheap cars. $20,000 cars, even $30,000 cars. Everybody is trying to figure out how to be a premium or a luxury car manufacturer. Nobody wants to be an economy car company anymore. Everybody is trying to get $40,000, $50,000 as the minimum. That's their base price. Everybody's trying to get there. General Motors, remember, it used to be that the Tahoe, Yukon, Escalade used to be $60,000, $70,000. In the last 7 years, the top trim level for the Escalade, the top trim level. Well, let me start here. The top trim level now for the Tahoe tops out. The high country goes up to like $70,000. For the Yukon, now that the Ultimate is no longer a package, it's a trim level. There's the Denali Ultimate is a trim level. That's $100,000 now. Not for an Escalade, but for a Yukon. The top trim level Yukon Denali now isn't $70,000 or $80,000 anymore. It's $100,000. You can look it up for yourself. Whether it's the Sierra pickup truck, the Sierra Denali Ultimate pickup, or the Denali Ultimate Yukon. It's $100,000 now. Not an Escalade, the Yukon. Well, Jason, what happened to the Escalade? Very glad you asked. The new Escalade is now $120,000 for the top trim level. I think that's the Platinum. It's the top trim level. But guess what? They just came out with the new Escalade V, which is the performance one. That one is $200,000. General Motors, Cadillac, the Escalade, and the new Escalade V is $200,000. You can Google it right now. The Escalade V that they just brought out, $200,000. It's up there with Bentley now. It costs as much as a Maybach. So if you want to know what happened to the price of the Cadillac after I told you what happened to the price of the Yukon, well, Jason, what happened to the price of the Cadillac? Oh, you don't even want to know that one. You don't even want to know that one. And guess what? General Motors isn't done. Remember, they have the electric cars coming out. So the Silverado electric and then the Hummer, which is $150,000. I mean, they say 115, but I've seen stuff on the aftermarket. I've actually seen stuff on the aftermarket for 200,000. But for the Hummer, 115, 150, you're going to be paying somewhere in there. Then you got to reserve it. General Motors, GM, not Mercedes, not BMW, not Aston Martin. General Motors, GM. With their shoddy ass track record. And you telling me that you're going to trade in your Honda CR-V and you going to level up? You ain't ready for this. Let me tell you something, folks, because I'm a person who's done it. I bought 2 cars in the last 4 years. If you haven't purchased a new car in the last 24 months, you ain't ready. You're not ready for the prices you're about to encounter. You're not ready. Even with the car market softening, I'm telling you, the automotive manufacturer is going to pull back on production to try to keep these prices as high as they can, because you know why? They can get it. And they've been getting it. Somebody in the chat room said GM equals getting money. It was General Motors, now it's getting money. I'm just trying to warn you, you're not ready for this. You're not prepared. You think you are, but you're not. And that's just the car. That's just the car. Folks, we haven't even discussed the damn interest rate yet. That's just the price of the car. You do realize the interest rate is going to 7%, right? So if your credit, understand something, if your credit is not good, forget just your income. If your income and your credit are not good, they're going to eat you alive. I warned you all of this a couple of months ago. We have now entered the era of the 10-year car note and the 40-year mortgage. For those of you who didn't know, we are now seeing car notes for regular passenger cars, not Lamborghinis or Ferraris, regular passenger cars going 10-year car notes and mortgages going on for 40 years. They're not ready for this. So if all you've been taking a look at is income and let me work my job and I'll do some overtime and whatnot, okay, what about that interest rate? You got to start putting money down on these cars. If you don't, then I can pay the monthly note. Get ready to pay that bastard for the next 7, 8, 9 years. You'll have no choice. Jason, what is the answer? Folks, I said what I meant. Get rich or die trying. You are in an environment where this is it. The brakes are off. The government is out to lunch. The corporations are running wild. And you got investors coming from around the world to purchase property and real estate in America and develop it at the highest profit margins they can, which means luxury. A bunch of y'all come from Midwestern or deep Southern cities, and now you're seeing the words luxury condos in your little penny in the ass city, Biloxi, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama, and you seeing luxury condo. You seeing luxury condo. Think about that for a few moments. Think about that for a few moments. That's not a joke, especially if you 25, 30 years old and some dumbass sat up here and told you can get yourself out here. Don't worry about it. You can get yourself out here and you can make it on your own. You're going to get out here and try to make it by yourself. What the hell are you talking about? You're gonna make it on your own. This is damn me delusional talk. In the year 2022, this is delusional talk. I'm gonna say this right now to my cats who live out there in California. Y'all are actually waking up to the reality of it too. In the last 10, 15 years, California has gotten a, pardon the expression, seismic shift in understanding. Folks in California already know, nigga, if you ain't got $1 million or so, you gon' struggle. My folks in California, I didn't say Los Angeles, I didn't say San Diego, I said California. My people in California already know, if you live in the state of California right now, if you ain't got $1 million or you ain't on your way to $1 million, you gon' struggle. And that's struggling today. We ain't talking about what it's going to be like in 10 years. This is 2022. What about by the time we get to 2028? 2032, when California wants to outlaw internal combustion engine cars and they want everything to be electric cars. Everybody got to buy a Tesla for $80,000 or $100,000. My folks in California already know, you correct, $7 and $8 gas. If you ain't got $1 million, your ass is struggling in California today. Not New York City, the whole state of California, you struggling. People, for those of you who haven't been, I have been many a moon. When you hit Interstate 5 coming on down through, baby, once you hit Sacramento, that's a wrap. Sacramento, Stockton. The prices been going up in Sacramento. It's the state capital. But now you starting to see the prices going up in Stockton? Little old working class ass Stockton? Stockton is not some megalopolis. Stockton is not some great big ass city, but the money rolling in. Stockton now. Stockton. My folks in California, I know y'all can name more cities than I can, but I'm just letting you know, I've seen it. I've seen it. Then you come on down, Oakland, San Francisco, talking about the Bay. All the way down I-5. I know you got to get off to get to San Francisco. You get the idea. Then once you get down to Los Angeles, Berkeley, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, San Diego. Once you get down there, if you ain't got $1 million, don't go to California. And if you're in California, you better get it. You better get it. You better get it. And my folks in California know I'm telling the damn truth. Well, guess what? New York, California are the worst case scenarios. They're far from the only ones now. Far from the only ones. Let's go ahead and jump back across the country again to the East Coast. Myrtle Beach. Have y'all seen some of the things they do in the Myrtle Beach? Have you seen some of what's going on out there? You got your Hilton resorts and every damn thing else. Myrtle Beach. Them old bastards from New York who figured they were going to go to the Carolinas and take it smooth. Okay, they ready for you. The developers are already building and they ready for your ass right now. Not next year. They're ready for you right now. Right now. Rolando, you correct. Hilton Head, we can keep going down the list. They're ready for you today. They're ready for you today. They're ready for you right now. You telling yourself you're going to get there and skate cheap. Man, they're ready. They already ready to come run your pockets. You're going to get there and be like, I'll be damned, it's New York all over again. They're already ready to run your pockets. You gonna tell me that you're gonna be 30 years old and you gonna retire early because you make $80,000 a year? Put the crack pipe down, Billy. Put the crack pipe down. Let me say this in no uncertain terms. Dr. Claude Anderson said that we are living in the ownership society, but I want to amend that for you all tonight. You're not in the ownership society. You're in the survival society. Your grandparents and your great-grandparents, they had to get together and make it work, period, because you ain't going to get it on your own. It's not going to happen for you. And the dumbest, most vulnerable individual in the world is the one who's going to try to make it on their own, and you don't already satisfy the numbers that I just named. You are a sitting duck. Let me say this differently here. You are one unexpected expense away from being destitute. All you need is one unexpected expense. One medical expense, one car repair, one home repair. If you do have a house, you are one unexpected expense away. Notice I didn't say a job loss. I said one unexpected expense, because what you've done is the more money you make, the more money you spend. You strap yourself as much as you can, so you are stretched to your limits. So if anything else lands on you, you can't grab it. You can't pick it up. You can't stop it from hitting the ground. Now, I don't know who in the hell told you, but I posted something on my Facebook page earlier this week that the biggest form of sabotage that parents can do to their children today is to teach their children that you need to like the people around you, as opposed to you need to value people that you like, as opposed to valuing people who are useful, resourceful, get results. So you end up with a bunch of knick-knack, paddywhack, sitting on the corner ass friends, smoking weed. Well, these are folks you like. Yeah, you like them, but they're useless. You like them, but they are unproductive. You like them, but they are unresourceful. You like them, but they don't master anything. That's the problem. And now you telling me that you are going to walk off into the great big wild blue yonder up against this, and you gonna be okay? You're gonna go toe to toe against this, and you're gonna be all right. Really? Is that what it's gonna be? Sounds like some fantastic fantasy talk to me, but okay. I don't care if you don't like math, you will submit to it. I've been called a revolutionary, but in many ways I am an actuary. So what I do is I try to sit down, I crunch the numbers, and I attempt to predict what is the likelihood or probability of these events transpiring a certain way. And when you go over the numbers, you start to know that you start to realize how many people will be affected by it. There are a bunch of people today who are telling themselves that they are well paid, and in reality, you are just going to be a above minimum wage worker. I don't want to say the word slave, but you are certainly going to be working. Folks, the definition of working class needs to be extended to $180,000. There's a lot of folks who think that you're financially free when you get to $100,000. No, in America, when you get to $100,000, you have to pay all the taxes. See, there's a bunch of you who've been working at jobs and getting deductions. You got kids, child tax care credits, earned income tax credits, all this other garbage. You make $100,000 a year, you don't get none of that. You make $100,000 a year, you don't get the benefit of that. You make $100,000 a year, you have to pay the whole damn freight. The whole damn thing. You got to pay all of it. So if you're telling yourself, well, don't worry, I'll keep increasing my income. You see, there's a reason why. There is a reason why the majority of your single moms don't ever get out of poverty. They don't ever get out of working class. They just go from one year to another working their asses off, try to steal a vacation here or there to Bermuda, but she ain't rising. Damn sure ain't balling. You know why? Because what she realizes, I'll be damned. Once she made more than $80,000 a year, she had to pay more in taxes. Then they start calculating, well, I'll be damned. I didn't notice that before. Well, yeah, you've been getting all these welfare and food stamps and all these freebies and tax credits. Once she hits $80,000 a year, the light bulb goes off. I'll be damned. They're taking a great big juicy bite out of my ass over these taxes. And then she starts calculating, well, if I make $100,000, how much will I have to pay then? Ooh, good golly, Miss Molly. You know what? Damn overachieving. Let me just keep my income right down here where it is. And that's the reason why the majority of single mothers, even if they do have a profession that would allow them to make more, that's the reason that the majority of them don't. Because the moment they actually have to pay the real tax rate, they sit up here and say, I'm bowing out. The moment they have to actually pay the real damn rate, then they're done. Welcome to the real world. I know a bunch of y'all got kinfolk who did that. A bunch of y'all got kinfolk who she was skinning and grinning, bunch of bastard kids hanging off of her since her 20s, thought it was a damn joke, and then told you she was going to level up, and then you couldn't figure out why the hell she's sitting up here and never did level up. Driving her Mercedes A-Class, never did level up because the math isn't going to work for you. The story is typical. Folks, I'm not giving you an outlier. This is every damn where. Dallas, Houston, Minneapolis, Chicago. This is everywhere. As soon as they hit that $80,000 threshold, they panic when they get their new check. They panic. And then they say, I'll be damned, let me just leave it where it is. And then all of a sudden, she starts saying, she starts realizing a bunch of stuff she won't do, you ain't gonna be able to do. So what does she do? She goes off and racks up a bunch of damn debt. Now she will be an indentured servant for the rest of her life. That's where that goes. What I'm saying is to everyone here tonight, you better have some act right about you. To the men who are listening to me, grind. This is it right here. Everybody else, you are either going to survive or you are going to be consumed. That's it. That's it. Bad and good and ain't nothing in between. You either gonna be straight or you gonna be messed up in the game. That's it. Those are the only two positions that you can occupy. I'm good, I'm down bad. I'm up good or I'm down bad. It is what it is. Word of caution here to the females. Ladies, there are not that many producers out there. I recommend one thing that you need to understand. We live in a mad, mad, mad world. We live in a mad, mad world. I recommend that you get you a mad scientist. Talk all the crap you want to about 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Kanye. Say whatever you want to about them. They're mad scientists. They live in a crazy ass world and they know how to cook up cook up a recipe in the laboratory. Ladies, you live in a mad world. You better get you a mad scientist on your team. You live in a world full of sharks. You better have a shark in your tank. You better have a shark in your tank. You better have access to one. You better have a competent man. Because that's the only way that you can level this equation out. You can't balance it out by yourself. It's mathematically impossible. It doesn't work. It will destroy you. It'll crush you. If you spent the first 20 years of your damn life getting earned income tax credits and child tax credits, you've never had to actually pay a real bill before. You've never actually had to have a real income tax return before. You're not ready for this at 35, 38, 40, 42, 40. You're not ready for this. Most males are, but you won't be ready for it. You are not going to be ready for it. And then there are some folks out there being corrupted to hell by their mammies and every damn thing else. So I would be remiss if I didn't cover this, because I've got a few choice words I have to say about this going forward. I want you to understand, for those of you who didn't see it or whatever, 50 Cent's son was out here and talk about an abysmal failure of an individual. I want to play some of what he had to say here, because this dovetails off what we're talking about here tonight. This fella here was talking about $6,700 just in child support. How was him and his mama supposed to make it on $6,700 in child support? I want you to hear some of what he said.
Is that a reason for you not to know when my birthday is? I want for anything. Don't you agree? Emotionally, right? And you're financially, right? I should not want for anything. Don't you agree?
When you say you shouldn't want for anything, what do you...
I should not want for anything.
Now, did you all hear that? Let me just say this just like it is. That's some hoe talk. That is some straight up hoe talk. He's talking about his own father. And he's saying, I shouldn't want for nothing. He ain't talking like a man. He's not talking like this fella's son. He's talking like a hoe. I shouldn't want for nothing. Dude, you're his son. You ain't his damn woman. What the hell is this? So that tells you who he's channeling. He's not talking like his father's son. He's talking like his father's woman. So that tells you who's poisoned him and corrupted him. The mammy been sitting there feeding him a steady diet of poison and bilge. Now he's 26. He just had a birthday a day or two ago. Everybody been saying he's 25. He's now 26 years old. 26. Now this one he was 25. But listen to what the hell he talking about.
At the time, I want elite socks. Basketball socks is $12. Is that a reason for you not to know when my birthday is? I want for anything. Don't you agree? Emotionally, right? And you're financially, right? I should not want for anything. Don't you agree?
When you say you shouldn't want for anything, what do you...
I should not want for anything. I'm not talking about I want a Lambo. At the time, I want elite socks. Basketball socks is $12. I should not want anything,
now, hold on.
right?
Now, what age is this? What?
I'm asking you again. We ain't got to worry about the age. We ain't even got to worry about the age. Just a general question. If you're not going to be there physically and emotionally, but you're traveling, you got to get the money. I should not want for anything,
especially if
right?
you're paying child support.
If you're going to be out there traveling and getting the money, then I shouldn't want for anything. This is hoe talk. He's not talking like a man. He's talking like somebody's scheming ass, scandalous ass, gold digging ass woman. That if you got it, I should have it. That's that damn if you got it, I should have it talk. You just need to get out there and go get my damn money. So you got a female trying to pimp 50 and wonder how the hell it ended up the way it did. He's 26 years old, still sitting up here talking about what he wants from his daddy, what he's trying to grift and hustle off of another man. This lays solely at the feet of that hood rat who raised him. He's 26 years old and incapable of operating on his own. He's responding to the world like a raggedy female, not a female, a raggedy female.
Okay, so what's he paying child support?
It. Simple. Is he paying child support? Hold on, let me say another one, Joe.
Was he paying child support at the time you're talking about?
Choke, I got a question, Choke. Choke, you cannot compare the situation to yourself, one.
nigga,
We're talking about
way better.
No, we're talking about a full.
So if you pay child support, you not supposed to
full
can't
system.
spend
Totally
no extra bread on your kid or get your kid saying you want to be a dad because you paying child support.
Hold on, wait, I got a question.
Nigga, you know how much child support?
You can do that.
50
You know how much money he was making? What the fuck?
Now we got another hoe on the screen here. So, two hoes sitting up here pocket watching 50 Cent. You know how much money he was making? This is why, fellas, the most dangerous thing that a man who is driven and stacking resources can do is have unproductive, lazy ass, jealous people around you. You can't have them around you at all. If you even suspect that's what they are, you gotta cut them off. That's the most dangerous thing you can have. They're sitting there right there the whole time next to you and are envious, hating, they got animosity towards you. You ain't did nothing to them. Well, you know, you got it. You need to get some more. These are males up here. Males talking about another man needs to give up more.
Hold on, do you know how much? Let me see.
It goes about how much money you make.
Personally say, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hold on. Because Fosti said it. It's the truth. Go ahead, let me hear.
Did he or not? And I heard this is public record. Him saying that he cut the check for whatever it was maybe in a year or the full amount of child support to your moms. No.
Cut a check for what? Okay. What he said? It says like 1 point something, right?
Maybe that's.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right, you pay child support, right? Did you give one lump sum?
No, because I didn't have to.
Oh,
it's monthly.
Okay, but you have the option to pay it.
Yo, bro, you keep ringing the wrong bell.
Okay, listen, child support. I believe came around when I was 12 or 13, or maybe 11. I think 10 years of child support, 1.2 over. What was it? It was like $1 million, I think. What he claims is $1 million, right? It's $6,700 a month.
Okay, and I can't buy socks.
Listen to what I'm saying to you.
Right.
$6,700 a month, right?
Now, you notice he gets asked questions by grown men. They ask him a direct question, and the first thing he does, he starts screwing up his face. These are raggedy, low-class female mannerisms. When a man makes a statement and you start screwing your face up, that's something hoes do. When you see a male channeling raggedy, gutter female character traits and mannerisms, that tells you a lot right there.
$700 a month. $700 a month, right?
$6,700 a month, right? You telling me?
That's hold on, wait. Time out. Hold on, listen. Don't compare.
I'm from New York.
This is the biggest mistake everybody make. You're comparing it to yourself. You're comparing it to yourself. You're comparing it to your life. Don't do that.
$6,700.
Don't do that. You're talking about a Forbes lister. Hold on, wait, listen.
Now he said you're talking about a Forbes lister. Now listen to it there. This little chap has never worked a day in his life. He's never earned anything. Well, see, you talking about your life. See, that's the problem. You can't do that. You talking about your life now. See, I'm better than that. Your father is better than that, dude. Not you. But he's talking like he owns what his father has.
You're talking about a Forbes lister. Hold on, wait, listen. You're talking about somebody that has problems with everybody. You can't just live in any neighborhood. 81K.
Okay, you talking about that fella who got problems with everybody. You can't just live in any neighborhood. Wasn't he just taking pictures with the son of Supreme, who allegedly some folks say was responsible for when 50 got shot? That he was responsible for that? Wasn't he taking pictures with Supreme's son He was all booed up and with Supreme's son. Wasn't he doing that? While he's talking all this straight cash crap about his father's money, wasn't he doing, you got watch the neighborhood you in? Well, excuse me. You didn't seem to be very worried about that the other day. You weren't worried about that on Instagram. Well, how'd you suddenly get concerned about the neighborhood you in now? It looks to me like you perfectly fine in the rough part of the neighborhood. Why you talking this idiocy?
Hold on, wait, listen. You talking about somebody that has problems with everybody. You can't just live in any neighborhood. 81K is not a substantial lot of money.
Hold on.
You talking about you got beef with everybody in the industry. You can't just live anywhere.
And if he's contributing $6,700, that means your mom's got the other half. It ain't.
Now that right there was the death blow. That statement right there was the death blow. You can't get around it. That's it. You've been decapitated. Okay, 50 giving you the 81,000. Your mama need to have the other 81,000. That's your damn mama. That's the other parent. At that point, this whole damn thing is over. Actually, it's not over, because wait till you hear what he says in response to that.
You talking about you got beef with everybody in the industry. You can't just live anywhere.
And if he's contributing $6,700, that means your mom's got the other half. It ain't just for him to just fucking take care of you. She got to take care of you too. She got to work too, nigga. He giving up $6,700. Where's her $6,700 to go with his? Now y'all got $1,200, $1,300, now $13,000 a month. Oh my!
See, hold on. Yo, choke. This is where you get it. This is where it goes down a bad path, brother. This is what I'm trying to tell you, bro. Yo, bro, $6,700. If I told you right now, right, you got to start your life over right now with $6,700 a month and rebuild your life.
Yes.
Can you do it?
Now, you saw what he just did. He just sat there and said, hey, if your dad putting in 80,000, your mama needs to put in the other 80,000. Y'all gonna make it would be 160,000. But y'all be making $160,000 a year. You ain't straight on $150,000 a year. You notice he didn't respond to that. He sidestepped it and started saying something else. Now they're gonna come back to it, and he's going to actually say, well, all I'm going to say is if you think you've heard the worst hoe stuff from him, you ain't heard it yet.
With $6,700, I can.
You have nothing.
$6,700, yes, I can. Nigga, I'm from the fucking wood. I'm from Edo, buddy. $6,700, I'm good.
That's what I'm saying.
Nigga.
I'm comparing it to yourself.
With two
Choke,
kids.
this is what I'm saying to you. Choke, this is where you go wrong. You got to stop comparing it. You comparing it to yourself, bro. You compare it on your standard of lifestyle, bro. You cannot do that. Can't do that. Listen, Choke. I jumped out of a burning house, brother. I had nothing. Okay. I know what it feels like to have nothing, all right? And I had to rebuild my life over with $6,700 a month.
Marquise, I know you feel like that.
You had to rebuild your life. Y'all, he's talking like that was money he was making. He's talking like that was money he's making. What I'm saying is he's channeling the hoe. And it's one thing if it was a hoe to a stranger. This is your father. You talking like you booed up under, man. What the hell has your mama done to you?
It ain't a lot of money, but it's a lot of people here watching right now. Girls that's getting $200 a month child support. Fucking $100, $50 a month child. I'm telling you, they watching right now, bro.
We're talking about.
He is right. You got chicks out there getting $100 a month in child support, $400 a month. Man, they would be doing backflips if they could get $1,500 a month. You getting 67? He was getting $6,700. So yeah, I mean, what are you saying? There's a whole bunch of folks out there wish they could get a third of what you were getting, and they would be, man, I'm straight, and he's talking about, I can't live on that right there.
Contributing $6,700, and all the baby mother got to do is put her in it.
Yo, 80,000. What are you talking about? My mother has. Listen, this is where you getting it wrong, bro. So hold on, talk about.
Okay, I think he's about to explain the part where we're talking about when he said, hey, she needs to put in her part of it. Listen to what he has to say here in response to that. When he said, okay, if your dad puts in $80,000, that's $6,700 a month, your mama needs to put in the other. She needs to work and put in the other. Listen to what he says.
This is the problem. They want everybody to be raised just like them. So you're telling me my mom should not be home with me, supporting me physically, emotionally, because you're going to get the money. So now she has to go get the money. Nobody's watching me.
Did you hear that? See, you think everybody's supposed to be raised like y'all. So my mom can't be home to physically and emotionally support me. Do you all see what single mothers do to sons out here today? You all just heard that for you. So my mom can't be home to physically and emotionally support me. He was 25 when he made this. So he was way past the age when all this was even happening. He was 25 when he was saying this. Talking about his mama needs to be home to physically and emotionally support him.
Like them. So you're telling me my mom should not be home with me, supporting me physically, emotionally, because you're going to get the money. So now she has to go get the money. Nobody's watching me.
Now, how many of y'all have mothers who worked? I ain't going to drop the mic again. How many of you had mothers who worked? This fool is sitting up here talking as if his mom having to work would have made it impossible for him to develop. How many folk here in the chat room, show of hands, how many of y'all had moms who had a job? How many of you had mothers who worked? Because according to him, a working mother cannot take care of her child and cannot physically and emotionally support their child, according to him. According to him. He's such a damn invalid. Such an invalid dependent. He's telling the rest of us that our mothers couldn't work. That his mama was special. That's what I want you to understand he's trying to say. My mama was special. My mama ain't like the rest of y'all. What I'm telling you is, does this sound like a notion or a thought that he came up with on his own? This pedestalization of his mother? This putting his mother on a pedestal? Does this sound like something that he came up with? Does this sound like something that he saw in the streets of Brooklyn, in the streets of the Bronx, in the streets of New York? Does this seem or sound like what he grew up around or what he witnessed around him? Or does this sound like some fantasy island bullcrap that his mother told him? I'm not like the rest of these people. You see, I slept with 50 Cent. Your daddy is 50 Cent. You ain't like everybody else. And I ain't just one of these old tricks out here on the streets. See, I'm different. I was with 50 Cent, see. I'm not like them. I shouldn't be living like the rest of them. So don't let nobody tell you that right there. 50 Cent is your daddy. So simply because of the man I laid down with, that should put me on a higher level than all these other folks. We ain't like them. We ain't like them. You all tell me, does this sound like something that a male would come up with on his own? Or is this some gold-digging ass scandalous backdoor groupie stuff that he picked up from some broad somewhere? Although we know who the broad was.
Oh, bro. So hold on, talk about. This is the problem. They want everybody to be raised just like them. So you're telling me my mom should not be home with me, supporting me physically, emotionally, because you're going to get the money. So now she has to go get the money. Nobody's watching me.
Are you telling me that my mom shouldn't be home with me? Hell yes, nigga. That's exactly what we're saying. Everybody else's mama can get out here and go work, but your mother can't? What the hell makes her so damn special? Who the hell made her such a princess? Cause it ain't what the hell she was. Who the hell made her such a delicate ass flower? So everybody else's mama can work. There's a bunch of females listening to me right now. There's a bunch of women listening to me right now. Y'all, he talking about his mama is too good to work. Now the rest of you, even those of you who got kids, you ain't too good to work. You didn't lay up with the right nigga. You ain't too good. You're not too good to work. You're perfectly good to work. But his mama is different. His mama is special. His mama is privileged. Now, she didn't do anything herself other than lay up under the right dude. But, oh, she's better than any of you. Oh, she's way better. You need to work. She's not like you. She's not like you at all.
Me, supporting me physically, emotionally, because you're going to get the money. So now she has to go get the money. Nobody's watching me.
By the way, do you see Choke No Joke down there in the lower left-hand corner of the screen? Do you see Choke? Because that's pretty much all of us. He's hearing this bull crap this boy is saying, and he's sitting there in stunned disbelief.
Everybody be raised just like them. So you're telling me my mom should not be home with me, supporting me physically, emotionally, because you're going to get the money. So now she has to go get the money.
Y'all see Choke? Choke down there in the lower left-hand corner screen. Y'all see him? Choke is sitting there stunned. He's like, I'll be damned. Where these new niggas coming from?
Nobody's watching me.
What do you mean nobody's watching you? Your mother's getting $6,700 a month. She can get a babysitter. She can put you in child care while she's working. What are you serious?
Where am I living for 60? Wait, hold on, wait. All right, cool. Babysitter.
Marquise, you're not going to tell me that. You tell me your bills.
How much?
Where do you live? What city you live in?
We are in an era where some folks are out of touch with reality. And when entitlement sets in, let me tell you, that's a dangerous ass thing. Let me tell you something here, Marquise. If your mama wanted access to that other $30 million, your mama should have acted right, nigga. 50 Cent is the dude who got it. You see, if a fella wants sexual access to a female's body, we're told you gotta do whatever she says to make her happy. Well, guess what? If she wants access to a producer so she ain't gotta sit out here and hoof it on that subway every damn day, then guess what, boy? She got to act right. She was able to get that man. I think she married him, actually, but whether she did or didn't, I want to say they said she was married to him. She figured out how to get him down the altar once. Everybody else could do it. She's not too good for that. Everybody else could do that. Your mama sat up here and decided that once she had the baby, that she had the system on her side. That's what she thought. I want to go ahead and give you all a reminder because I was dealing with this earlier here on Facebook. For those of you who didn't know, what's her name? Tamisa, whatever her name was. Oh, for those of you who forgot, because we ain't forgot. We haven't forgotten. This story from 2008. 50 Cent saves big bucks. Rapper 50 Cent got a break in court. A big break. A Long Island court judge slashed his child support payments by 73% this week by Juliana Bonham. I'm going to go through this here real quickly. Curtis James Jackson III, better known as 50 Cent, will now have a little more pocket change after a Long Island court judge slashed his child support payments by 73% this week. Now, listen to the details here. The rapper, who banked an estimated $33 million last year and owns G-Unit Records, had previously been paying his ex-girlfriend, Shaniqua Tompkins, child support off the books. But as Tompkins' allegedly, quote, insatiable demands for cash continued to escalate, he took legal action. When Tompkins requested $50,000 a month, to support their 10-year-old son, Marquise Diamond Jackson. So she went to court. He had already been paying her child support already. She decides she's listening to her hoe-ass friends, her hoe-ass relatives, some sleazy-ass, smarmy-ass lawyer. Hey, you know, if we take him to court, you can get a lot more. Why are you taking a few thousand? You could be getting a lot more. Well, guess what? She listened to they dumbasses. Rather than taking what she was getting, she listened to their dumbasses and tried to roll the dice and go to court. Well, don't worry. Courts are set up to mess men over. So if I go to court, the courts are set up to mess them over. She had a rude awakening. Story goes on to say that instead, now, she had requested $50,000 a month to support their son. Instead, she was granted an interim award of $25,000 a month last April, while the court determined the appropriate amount. Well, the court came up with this decision. This week, that figure of $25,000 was reduced again to $6,700 a month. That's $80,400, albeit tax-free, that Tompkins will receive annually to support their child. And while that might seem paltry in relation to the rapper's income, technically, it should be even less. Let me say that again. She asked for $50,000. The court gave her $25,000 while it determined what the right amount should be. And when they came back to court, they knocked that $25,000 down to $6,700. But in reality, the amount technically should have been even less than this $6,700 they've been talking about. Why? The story says the child support statute is supposed to grant, quote, 17% of the first $80,000 of combined earned income, says Jeffrey Cohen, a partner at Cohen Goldstein Silp LLC in New York. According to the statute, in 50 Cent's case, if he were the sole earner, he would be obligated to pony up $13,600 a year plus insurance benefits and child care. Quote, but courts don't think very much about the threshold, said Cohen. They tried to pick a cap. Sometimes it's 100,000 or 200,000. Sometimes it's just based on the standard of living, but they won't apply it up to $33 million. So remember when they were saying that he made $33 million last year, that the attorney that they quoted for this case here is saying the courts don't think much about thresholds. They try to pick a cap, a maximum. Sometimes it's $100,000 or $200,000. Sometimes it's just based on the standard of living, but it won't apply. They won't apply it up to $33 million. Disparities between each parent's lifestyle, however, can significantly influence a court's decision. Quote, say I have a big crib and she's living in a 5th floor walk-up, says Cohen. The court might go beyond the actual needs because of the disparity in lifestyle. Now that's bull crap. If the mama is out here struggling, your child support is supposed to go to pay for the child. Child support's not supposed to be sitting up here raising the woman's lifestyle. Child support is not supposed to be raising her lifestyle. It's supposed to be taking care of the child. Not, oh, well, I'm a bummy ass broad, so here's a loophole to raise my lifestyle. It's not supposed to raise her lifestyle. It's supposed to take care of the child, not her lifestyle. She's supposed to get off her ass and get herself together. That's how she raises her lifestyle. They go on to say that after a court makes a permanent award, there must be, quote, grave extenuating circumstances before they take a look at an agreement to change an award of child support, said Elliot D. Samuelson, a senior partner at Samuelson House Samuelson, a firm in New York that specializes in family law. Quote, and it has to be a substantive change, not just any change. Like if you were fired from a job making $200,000 a year and in your new job you made $100,000 a year. So for those of you who are unaware, in reality, 50 Cent should have been paying a fraction of that $80,000. He was being generous to her on the front end. She tried to sit up here and mug him, went to court, and got busted down. No wonder this boy has been out here talking all kinds of crazy. He is channeling every bit of bile, every bit of hate, all the grimy statements that his mammy has been making about this man. That you can clearly hear that that's what he's saying. That's what he's doing. His mama's been sitting up here running his daddy down irrationally because she thought she was going to run his pocket simply because she had a baby. What she was supposed to do is what a grown-ass woman does. Okay, you got a kid, you get up off your ass, miss, and you go to work with all the other women out here. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get off your ass and go to work just like every other woman out here is doing. Now you raised your spoiled ass, useless ass son. His daddy was a hustler, but his son is sitting up here looking for somebody to take care of him like My Little Pony. What the hell? Now he's got the hoe in him. He's supposed to have the hustle in him. He got the hoe in him like his mama. So his mother hates the father so much that she's destroyed the son. That's her way of destroying the father. This recreation of you, he's been under my roof, but I've been destroying him the whole time. So I'm vicariously destroying you. I want y'all to understand how this works going forward. I want you to understand how this works going forward because I've been there. I know what it's like to have some chick sit up here and look you in the face and talk about, well, if you're driving an $80,000, $90,000 car, I should be driving one too. Why should I have to work? Because you got it. I've literally heard those words said to me. Those words have literally been said to me, and I've never been married. I don't have any children with anybody. Not even one of them Sally Struthers feed the children. One of them adopted kids you send the $5 to every month. I ain't even got one of them. I've literally had a female sit in front of me and tell me that because of the life I was living, because of what I have access to, that because she's quote unquote my woman, she should be living the same way. She literally said the words, literally, if you got it, I should have it. If you got it, I should have it. I know what it's like to have some chick sit right in front of you and tell you that you ain't married, you ain't got no kids. And she literally said, why do I have to go to work? You make enough money for the both of us. Why should I have to work? I don't like a commute. Why do I have to work? Heifer, because you were working when I met you. That's why. You had no problem working when I met your ass. How is it all of a sudden you ain't got to work anymore? Based on what? You were working when I met you. How are we going to sit up here and put in the lemon twist and change the rules now? Why do I got to work now? Because you were working when I met you. That's why. Well, you got it. Yes, I do, and I'm going to keep it. Now, by the way, it wasn't like I was doing nothing, by the way. It wasn't like I was doing nothing for her. It wasn't like I was doing nothing, but what I'm saying is entitlement is a cancer. It grows. What it does is when you've got somebody next to you and they look at your genuine accomplishments of conquering the world, innovating, and coming up with new ideas, and then executing them in a way that's successful, and then they think their contribution and accomplishment in this world is being next to you. Not that they think it's equal, it's just like, hey, if it's a take, if I can get away with it, let me go on a take. Let me go ahead and get that. Let me see if I can grab that. Understand something. When entitlement sets in, disrespect gets heinous. They don't exercise rationality. I will remind you all, I did tell her, well, look here, you can work 3 days a week. I'll let you do that. You don't have to work 5 days a week. You can just work 3 days a week. Maybe 2 days a week. It depends if you put in a little overtime. Maybe 2 days a week. So you're working 5. I'm willing to let you work 2 days a week. She said I should have to work 0 days a week. Guess what? She now works 6 days a week. She was working 5. I offered her 2. She demanded 0. She now works 6. Instead of taking 80% of 100%, she demanded 100% of 100%. She is now receiving 0% of 100%. Oh yeah, she ain't got nothing in her 401k. Oh yeah, and one more tidbit. She ain't got nothing in her 401k. There are a lot of females listening to me right now. Some of you are like my ex. Some of you are like 50 Cent's ex. There's some of you out here listening to the dumbest hoes on the planet. You are listening to some of the dumbest hoes. They are greedy, scandalous, and epically stupid, and they in your ear. You got a good situation. You set up nice. You got somebody that done bought the company car. You can go ahead and sit that little old Toyota Camry Corolla you've been pushing here for a minute. You can go sit that down. Dudes is putting brand new key fobs in your hands. All you got to do is play your role and stay in your lane. All you got to do is play your role and stay in your lane. And you listen to somebody else tell you, well, if he gives you the key fob to the Escalade, then he should be giving you one to a Aston Martin. Matter of fact, tell him he needs to be paying your rent and your electricity, and he need to just take care of all that there. Now you sitting up taking care of all of it. And the key fob is sitting in somebody else's hands. Actually, it's back at the dealership, but you get the idea. Yeah, this is what listening to them will do. If you want to know why it is that so many millennials and Generation Z are going to work until they die, it is because they have been raised to be incapable of grabbing a good thing when they got it. They're looking gift horses in the mouth and then kicking them in the ass and running them off. And next thing you know, whatever benefit they could have received, you can kiss that goodbye. It's done. It's dead. It's gone. Now you sitting over here with your lip poked out and looking sad sack with your damn friends. And that's all that is. Let me remind you all of one thing. Is there anybody, anywhere who would want to trade places with Shaniqua Tompkins? 26 years later, Shaniqua and Vivica Fox are still sitting out here with their damn lips poked out about 50 Cent. Both of them could have been retired and sitting back and taking it easy, at least doing it a hell of a lot easier than they are. Cause guess what? Shaniqua gotta work now. You can't sit up here and grift no damn more child support because 50 Cent stopped paying when the boy was 17. He's 26 now, so it was 9 years ago. 50 Cent stopped paying that $6,700 a month 9 years ago. Old girl been having to sit out here and hump it and hot-foot it for herself. Maybe you should have acted like you had some damn sense when you were with that man. Cause he ain't never stopped grinding. He ain't never stopped building. And he's still working, but he's getting a hell of a lot more for it than you. All you gonna do now is work till you die. The only thing you've done is show the world, yeah, I used to be 50 Cent's chick, but I was really stupid. And don't you all think for a moment that she wouldn't take a side chick position if one was available. One is not available. That's the only reason she ain't gonna take it. And let me tell you something else. She hasn't been able to get another 50 cents since then either, has she? Hell no. Straight downgrade. Straight downgrade. Straight downgrade. You get nothing. You get nothing at all. Listening to your friends. Listening to your family. Listen to folk who don't know no damn better. Listen to people who don't have your best interest at heart. That's the problem. If you're sitting around listening to people who don't have your best interest at heart and are not going to keep it real with you and not going to tell you exactly what it is, because I will. I'll tell you exactly what it is. His father has cut him off, so now he's on some Kardashian stuff. Let me just keep mentioning my daddy's name. Let me keep flagging around my daddy's name. Let me just do like my mama. You know why? Because he hasn't built anything for himself. And because he hasn't built anything for himself, now he's sitting up here doing like Vivica Fox. Dude, you 26 years old. Your father's name ain't supposed to be coming out your damn mouth. You supposed to be too busy building. But you know what? He's 26 and he's adding up these numbers and saying, I'll be damned. Ain't a whole lot going on. There's not a whole lot going on. And he can't build it for himself. I've sent this message out tonight to the Millennials and Generation Z. 50 Cent had an album, Get Rich or Die Trying. Guess what? 50 Cent is not worried about the cost of the rent, the cost of living, or the neighborhood to live in New York. His baby mama and the firstborn son are. They're worried about it. He's not. They are. Folks, this is like a football game. You don't have to like all of your teammates, but you have to have competent teammates. You don't have to like the coach, but you better have a competent coach, because it's better to have a team of folk that you ain't really all that cool with who win championships than to have a team full of folks you love and all of y'all are destitute, impoverished, and struggling. And I shouldn't have to spell that out. You done set up here and accumulated a bunch of folk. You talk about you like them and they cool with you and we get along, and they got your ass raggedy and bummy, and you will be working for the rest of your days with no end in sight. I put up a meme on my Facebook, a video from Twitter on my Facebook showing this old white man. He's sitting up here crawling his way out of an Aventador. I love the Lamborghini Aventador, but this man basically had to crawl out of it because his knees are so bad he couldn't get his legs up far enough, even in an Aventador, to be able to get out of it and stand up. So in other words, by the time he got his Lamborghini, he was too freaking old and crippled to be able to enjoy it. It's basically a $300,000 hover round. You better wake the hell up, and if these are things you really do want, and if this is something you really want to experience, you better do it while you still can. You better do it while you're still young enough to enjoy it. But then again, maybe you disagree. Maybe you feel differently. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the program that all of your favorite YouTubers are going to be backbiting and stealing material from, updating their lexicons for the smart ones, not doing it for the not so smart ones. This is the place to be. Also, I'm going to go ahead and turn the Zoom on here now. So remember, we give priority to Zoom we give priority to Zoom. So if you want to contact us on Zoom, there's the link in the chat room. Go ahead and pin that to the top. I want to thank Project Leroy and everybody else here who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, or Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support. We definitely appreciate that. And I want you to go ahead, and if you want to speak to us, you can go ahead and give us a call. I recommend you go in here early about that. We're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines now. I got a few folks sitting on the line, so let's go ahead and get caller from area code 281. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Prince out of Richmond, Texas.
Prince out of Richmond. What's on your mind?
Well, Jason, given what you're talking about, can people afford to retire? You know, these young people, you know. It's like you tell us two things. For young men, you make it simple and clear. Get your weight up. Your purpose is your main thing. Women are secondary. With women, you say the quality of man that she chooses is the most important thing. Now, given the fact that these independent-minded women, these women with these independent attitudes, they want the nice cars. They want the option of being single mother, having bastard children. They want the option of being able to divorce when they get ready. They want the option of being able to travel wherever they want to. We're talking to the young women now. And they want these expensive cars and homes. Well, how would they be able to afford them? How will they be able to afford them if they need this type of money for retirement? And see, that's a real issue there. That's where I think they should think about it. And I got a couple of questions for you. Will women with an independent attitude make the necessary changes to survive during their retirement age? Do you think they'll? Because I remember you talked to one woman. I bought my home when I was young, but you asked her, "Are you still paying for it?" Yes, because she refinanced it over and over.
Right. I mean, the short answer is no, absolutely not. They do not, because their motives were bad. The reason why they can never fix these problems is because their motives were bad. Brother, you don't start a business because, quote, I don't want white folk telling me what to do. That's not why you start a business. And if I've heard that once in my life, I've heard it a couple of dozen times. That is not a justifiable reason for starting a business. You start a business because you wish to be an entrepreneur and because you believe that you are better able to take advantage of your skills and talents on your own than through somebody else. That's the reason you become a business owner. Not because you don't want somebody telling you what to do, like you're some prepubescent child throwing tantrums. That's bad motives. Well, guess what? If you're a female and you sit up here and say, I want to buy a house because, well, my mama put me out at 18 or whatever, those are bad motives. That's a bad motive. Right. You don't buy a house because of something that happened with your mama 10, 20 years ago. You buy a house because it's reasonably priced, because it serves your needs. If you already have had children, there's no reason to buy a house, because a house is really supposed to facilitate a family. Well, if your kids are grown or whatever, guess what? You missed that boat. The money would be better spent. Brother, here's the thing. If you're a single mom and your kids are grown now, you're in your 40s, you'd be a damn fool buying a house at 45 or 48 years old with a 30-year note. That's right. You'd be a damn fool. Take that money and invest it somewhere else where it will actually do you some good, because you will never get the value out of the house. If you had done it in your 20s or 30s, maybe by the time the house is paid off, you've never gotten any value out of it. You paid it off just in time to die. The money would be better spent somewhere else. But if your motives are bad, you will hold on to this rationale. If your motives are bad.
Right. And what I think one of their main motives is, you brought up like women, because I had a woman told me she wanted me to set her down. I feel that a lot of times women, they, like you said about the woman with her mother not having a house, they're influenced by other women as far as I'm going to tell you what a woman will tell a woman. They'll say, oh, he's not working. why do you have to work? See, and so the women will put this poison in their head, and they'll go with that. They're in a great situation. Everything's going good for them. But now they're going to mess it up trying to impress somebody who's not going to do anything to improve their life. Why do you think women do that? And that's my last question, Jason. Thank you.
Because in the natural biological order of things, a man protects and provides for a woman. This isn't her.
Okay.
See, this is how society is screwed up today. This isn't your feeling. This isn't your thought. This isn't your inkling. This is your biology. A female biologically expects and accepts a man protecting and providing for her. Now you've screwed up the whole damn ecosystem. So the females have been conditioned to feel that a man needs to protect and provide, but never becomes something that a man protects and provides for. So now you've got this notion that you should have a man's protection and provision, but there isn't a man offering to do it. So if you want this, but nobody's offering to do it, then you're only left with one option. You got to go rob this nigga. You got to go take it. You've got to go take it. So then you listen to your aunties and generations of females, and they screwed the damn ball over. They fumbled it. And now they're angry and bitter. So when they hear, and there are no options for them at all, none. So if they hear their younger niece or their daughter or something tell them, hey, I think I found one, they all start doing the Birdman hand rub and say, okay, well, you can't let the grass grow under your feet now. You got to go ahead and hit him now. You can't let the grass grow. Wow. You got to hit him hard. You got to hit him fast. You got to take everything you can. And here's the problem, brother. You know that, and I know that doesn't work because you're too damn blatant.
Yes.
That one can't work because you're too damn blatant. Brother, if you go and knock a nigga over the head and take what he got, you got to ease your way in the door. You can't come through the damn door with a baseball bat and some brass knucks talking about I'm in love. That we're not going to buy that one. So if you are going to take a dude, see, men are smarter than that. We know full well if we try to sit up here and have a take on a female, whatever it may be, we got to ease on in. You can't just walk through the damn door, all right, help it drop it off. We know you can't do that. But she'll sit up here after listening to her aunties and stuff and talking irrational and crazy. But it's also because they're angry. You see, they're not thinking strategically because they're angry.
Okay.
All she can think of, if she's talking to her mother, all her mama can think of is that nigga from back in 1963 who didn't do what she wanted. So now she's trying to make up for it vicariously through her daughter, because if she had to do over again, she'd have run that dude's pockets too in the most vicious way. So just understand the reason that you see that difference. They're angry. She's sitting with a bunch of other angry females. They are not strategic. They are all thinking in the most vindictive, vicious way possible. And they, remember what I taught you all, they are expecting you to pay for whatever the previous dozen or 24 men didn't do. They are now presenting you with the bill with no mercy.
Okay,
I slept with 24 niggas and it didn't turn out right because my whole behavior got the better of me. But I'm going to stick you with the bill now. You have to make me whole because I've been out here laying up for a decade or two and I have nothing to show for it. So if I don't get you to drop it off, then I'm just screwed. So you gonna pay this. Now you understand where the attitude's coming from. It's irrational, but it's what they're doing.
Can a woman ever afford to give a producer an ultimatum? Are there any situations, let's say the woman, she's acting, she's behaving herself. Can she ever afford to give a producer, a top producer, an ultimatum?
Yes, a woman can give a producer an ultimatum assuming he is not feeding the troops.
Okay.
Now, a producer gotta feed the troops. Fellas, you gotta feed the troops. You can't just have them out here all raggedy. You gotta feed the troops. That's why I'm saying don't let no broad sit up here and tell you what you gonna do. But by the same token, that's why I introduced you to the concept of the company car. They say, if I got it, you got it. You know what? I agree. I got the key fob. If you're my woman, guess what? You got the key fob. And as long as you are my woman, you got it. It doesn't matter if we have an argument. It doesn't matter if we have a fight or whatever. If you are still classified as my woman, we're going to let that dust settle and everything's going to be what it is. But you got to feed the troops. So if she's your chick and she's been doing what she's supposed to be doing, there's going to be issues here and there. That's life. But if she's on balance doing what she's supposed to be doing, you got to feed the troops. If you were the fella and she's performing her duties, but he ain't feeding the troops, hey, hey, she got, hey, bro, you got to break my bread. I'm doing right, and I'm still sitting over here looking some kind of way. Now, that doesn't mean that she gets to sit up here and knock you over the head and play Santa Claus. But fellas, you got to feed the troops. You see, you have to have a productive woman. My whole thing is about having a female who represents you well. So if I stick you in front of celebrities or CEOs, you should be able to represent me well in front of all of them. If she does that, yeah, you got to feed the troops, bro. You got to feed the troops.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Now, it better be a polite ultimatum. She can't be sitting up here talking like, damn me, Mr. T. Hey, fool. You break me off. Okay. No, we ain't going to do that. We're not going to do that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Zoom up and going here. I think I got my man Jeff on. Let me make sure he's not muted. Okay, Jeff, you're not muted. What's on your mind, brother?
I don't think so. Hey, brother, can you hear me?
You're good. What's on?
Hey, man. As usual, over the fence. I've been saying this to people for years, that if you have a job, it better be fixing robots, because those are the only things that are going to have jobs. This concept that some type of job is going to save you is moot. That's very 1998. What you really need to find now is your purpose, because the universe, if you know, how do you want to put it? You want to put it from a God point. I like to say that God has left his goodness on this earth, but he has taken his mercy. He ain't going to have trick your rent money off and see what happens. Go to Vegas with your rent money and see what happens. If you're not into that, we can go metaphysical. There is no more metaphysical. The safety net is not under the tightrope no more. You don't have the opportunity to so trick off what you're really supposed to be here doing and then make that up. That's gone. That is gone. You're going to have some cohesive plan to take you out of the useless eater line. I strongly suggest, if you're watching this show, that you find a way to watch the movie Soylent Green, because that's where we're going. I think we spoke about this earlier, Brother Jason. In less than a year, America is going to be two places. This is why you're seeing gentrification and rebuilding all at once in every major city, because the major cities are going to be sprawling metropolises of access to information, technology, and convenience. And everywhere else, beyond the Thunderdome, nigga, everywhere else, we have no more room for useless eaters. If you cannot find a purpose for yourself, they will find one for you. And you don't want that. Now, I offer certain solutions to certain people. The one, and I want you, I asked this to you as a question. We talked about this a little earlier. I'm an old motorhead. I love old cars. I don't have a car from this century, and that's by design. I say the car of the future is the Bug. If they're going to let you burn gas anywhere, your ass better get a Bug. It's the only car, number one, that you can work on with tools under your sink. Number two, you can go forever on 10 gallons of gas. And number 3, Mexico made millions of them, millions. So there are no car part shortages for these cars. If you can't afford to roll into, which really nobody, if you ask me, nobody can afford to buy a car that doesn't have a business. That's the number one way that Americans or the world has been driven into poverty, by being made to make loans on depreciating liabilities. But I believe that the Bug is the only car for those of us who ain't balling. What do you say?
Okay, well, as a business owner who has used Section 179 judiciously, a car isn't a depreciating asset if it has a reason for being there. What usually happens is, what you were trying to say is, people overextend themselves. Instead of getting a car that is utilitarian, which is what you're describing, a car that has a utility, they instead try to get their dream car. Now, there's a difference between utility and aspiration. My Tahoe was a utility. The Navigator is an aspiration. You need to understand where you are in life before you make that choice. You might want, everybody wants to have that Mercedes S-Class. You probably need to be doing this Honda Accord over here, is what you need to be doing. So if you're having a disconnect between where you are and what you aspire to be, then yeah, guess what? That an S-Class is a depreciating asset. It certainly is to a person who doesn't belong in one. It damn sure is. But then again, a bicycle is a depreciating asset to someone who doesn't belong on one. I carry too much stuff to push a Volkswagen Beetle. I travel around the country, so I just got too much gear. You couldn't fit half my cameras in there. However, what usually happens, though, is that folks overextend themselves. They get, in a car company will sell you anything. They'll make you a loan that will fit whatever, even if you can't afford it. And they know most of the time they can't afford it.
Well, what I'm trying to get at, Brother Jason, and to overshare, I used to sell cars way back in '88. And a finance manager brought me in and showed me what happens to you when you buy a car, because banks are not in the car business. They're in the debt business. They don't even want that car back. You ain't gonna never go to a bank and find 15 cars behind it, because they don't want that. They're in the business for your debt. Once I figured that out, I took the car that I had. I went and made some, I don't suggest you do this, there's too many cameras now. I went and made some duplicate keys. I kept the original set, and I took that car to Mexico and said, amigo. 3 weeks later, I put it on my insurance. I've already checked this, the statute of limitations. It can't come after me. 3 weeks later, I called the popo and acted a fool outside the movie house like somebody stole it. 30 days after that, I had a check. I paid it off. And from that day to this one, I have never gotten a loan for a vehicle. I think we're kind of on the same page, as in, if you have an S-Class, it should be the product of your work, not the product of your dreams, because Black people have this thing that they must be envied by other Black people. This is what got your boy PNB Black killed, was his desire to be envied. It is that make you walk in and then get a car. Oh, I got to get the new one before I pay this off. So I'm going to double down and put myself way in the dirt for something that has an algorithm set that I never, ever, ever going to catch up. I'm not a Jason Black. I'm this dude that got a gig that want people to feel me when I get out at the club. That's what these people want. For that, the universe has no room. There's no more room for that. There's no more room for flossing. There's no more room for pretending. You couldn't stunt on white folks, no way. How you gonna stunt on white folks with money when they face on it? You only stunting on niggas when you do that. You can try. Oh yeah, I'm rolling this. Well, yeah, That's a Mercedes. Well, my uncle owns the letter M. So what are you really doing? Now, there's no time for that. And with regard to buying real estate, I have another thing that I want to throw by you. I say that because this is to overshare what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on this real estate to collapse so I can show up with a dime when you can buy the world for $1. If you're going to buy a piece of property as your first one, Black people, stop buying one door. Don't buy one door, as in buy something. So buy a fourplex. You can do to get more money to afford a fourplex. Banks will look at what you're going to be able to charge for rent and allow you to get a loan based on the fact that people are going to move in and pay that rent. And what you do is live in one and complain about the rent like the other people. They don't even know it's yours because it's positive cash flow. And if
multi-unit dwelling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we have been fed this American dream bovine feces that you're supposed to buy one house with a mortgage. MORT means death. Look it up. You are supposed to be paying someone else, the bank, who again don't want your house. The bank don't want your house. They want your debt.
Disagree. Bank does want your house because they want to sell it 2 or 3 times over, which is what they've been doing since 2007.
Sure.
They've been rinsing and repeating at a vicious rate is what they've been doing. However, now, Jeff, you live out there in California now.
Yes, sir.
And I want to run this by you here because you've been out there for a minute now, so you're not a greenhorn out there.
No, since 84.
Brother, it's my contention, and I've witnessed it happen. I got kinfolk in California, okay? But I've witnessed it happen over the course of the last 40 years. And it is my contention that today, if you ain't got $1 million, I don't see why you're in California. It's just going to be a hard road to hoe. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a grind, and it's not going to get any better. It's not getting any better. $7 a gallon gas. Median home price $500,000. You don't have anywhere you can rent in Los Angeles County if you don't make $20 an hour. So as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have $1 million or you're not on your way to $1 million, I don't see how you stay in California. I don't see how you do it.
Absolutely. The thing that has me here again to overshare is I still have one youngin that I am dealing with a ex-wife, not unlike on this 50 bovine feces, and my son is in high school. He's a junior. Being here in California, the only reason, again, when my son graduates, I'm gonna keep some property here. But unless you are uber rich, California is not the place. California used to be the place for film and television and the place of opportunity. But this was before it was politically destroyed, in my opinion, on purpose. This plan is to make California so freaking expensive while it's so freaking bad, so that the people who can really afford to stay here can get the stormtroopers to scoop everybody out. Do you think Venice Beach is going to stay jacked up like that?
No.
Venice, some of the best beachfront properties on the earth.
Venice, Malibu, Manhattan, El Segundo, Redondo. You can
all
see what's happening
coast,
now.
Bro. Huntington, all that. Go ahead, keep going. All down the coast.
You know I've been there.
Yes, sir. The chief issue, though, bro. Look up Venice Beach. It is gone. It looks like a dystopian future already. I submit to you, bro, that this also is going to happen all at once. It's going to start in Chicago, my beloved city. But there's going to be a stormtrooper move. Do you remember when everybody was kind of taking it easy, when we kept looking at video and you see these tanks going by? What are those? And where are they going? And why are they over militarizing small police stations for this shit that's coming? They're propping the dollar up with behavior.
Well, what they're doing is they're gonna is in California. Every once in a while, they've sent the sheriffs out there and stuff, and they've been practicing by moving some of the encampments and things. So they're really gonna take. I think what they're doing is they're trying to move them out to a certain area combined, which is the idea. But eventually, what you end up with is a situation of like private security, which is what we used to have before you had organized police departments, things like the Pinkertons. And of course, it'll be afforded by the rich, or you have individuals who'll be licensed and recognized by the city or the state or whatever. And they'll have authority to do things, and anybody else, you may or may not. It just depends on if it's your week or not. And then from there, they'll clear. From there, you've already got the economic barriers in place. Now you're going to put the physical obstacles in place. So yeah, and it's not just one place. You like I say, for anybody who's never been to California, first of all, it's a gigantic piece of geography. That's the first thing.
It's the left side of the country.
It's a beautiful thing, but when people look at the maps and stuff, the Mercator maps don't really do that thing justice as far as how tall it really is. So the maps really kind of distort the size of it. It makes it look like it's a lot shorter than it actually is. If you have to drive that damn thing, and I've done it coming down from Oregon, if you have to drive that damn thing, you find out just how big California really is. It's monstrous.
Get to San Diego
in a day.
Get to San Diego. Thank you. That's what I was about
to say. You can't do it in a day.
You cannot drive in a dragster. You cannot drive California in a day down the
I'm not gonna snitch on myself, but if you hit triple digits, you still can't make it from Oregon all the way down there in a day.
No,
you look at it on the map and you tell yourself, I can make this in a day. No, you cannot. The map lies. It lies
with
like
drivers.
A rug.
With two drivers, you can't do it.
Oh no,
it's too much. It's too much land. And what people don't understand about California is California's running out of water.
Oh, it's out of water. The Colorado River and all that. This is out of water.
All that, bro. Who you think gonna get that water? You think your regular ass gonna get it? You're gonna be a thirsty regular ass.
I mean, when folk talk about gentrification is easy to deal with compared to a lack of water resources. If you can't have a city, hell, you can't have a house if you have no water. You can't do that. So right now, it's a deadly dangerous situation in that regard. And yes, it's being set up basically survival of the fittest, which is survival of the richest. And, I've been there, I've seen it and stuff, especially like when I go up in the hills. When I go in Hollywood, if you ever go up in the Hollywood hills and whatnot, and you drive around and get lost, you go get lost up there, by the way. It's very easy to get lost. But you go up there and stuff, and folk who've never been there don't really understand. It's like them folk up there are living with no stress. And you wonder, how in the hell could that possibly be? Oh, their money is straight, and it's been straight. It's everybody at the bottom of the hill who got worries and what's going to happen in 10 years. The folk up on the hill, they straight. I'll let you have the last word.
Okay, brother. Well, I say this. Same thing I've been saying for almost a decade. Clan up. If you don't know 9 people around you after this podcast, find 9 people who think like you that think like this. And the 10 of you meet for when the feces hits the rotary oscillator. Where do we keep the weapons? Who's the best at with regard to logistics among us? Who's the best with regard to food? Who's the best with regard to natural resources? Who knows how to take apart a big screen projection TV, take that big lens out of it, and turn it into a huge magnifying glass that can either heat your house or get up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit from sun and burn concrete? You better learn some of that, because I'm going to tell you who knows it. Everybody try to make this country Sex in the City mixed with Bel Air, when the truth is it's Yellowstone and the hills have eyes. That's really what this country is. And the hills have eyes know what they doing. You better figure out what you're doing, black people, because it's coming and it's not playing. Jason is not exaggerating about a damn thing. Your ass is finna be ass out.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight, Brother Jeff. It's the hills have eyes and guns. They have eyes and guns. Better have your papers straight. You better be together. You better be allied with somebody. You're going to be on your own. Are you serious? That's a death wish. It's a death wish. Tonight, we've been talking here about how millennials and Gen Z will work until they die. A new report that's coming out basically saying something I was saying years ago. About how they're saying now you need $3 million to retire. They're just now saying it. I've been saying it for years. They're just now getting around to saying it. Let me get caller from area code 410. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. I was saying I was going to call in because I do relate to the broadcast since I am a millennial. I'm like between millennial and Gen Z. Shawnee's from Baltimore County, Maryland.
Hello, Shawnee's from Baltimore. What's on your mind?
Well, I am happy that I am back on my own this time without roommates. But being that I'm not like living with family or roommates, it does take a toll having to pay for everything by yourself when it's inflation and just coming out of a pandemic. It's not like, I guess, the quote unquote normal economy. But I am looking to start a YouTube business. I'm not sure where I would start with that, but anything anything to help with bills at this point. And if anybody on the line has a work from home job that I can get in the meantime, I am open to that opportunity.
Well, the number one thing that I would explain to you is the same old adage that was given to me still applies today. You have to be an expert. Your generation, more than any generation before it, you all cannot be unskilled laborers. You can't be. You all have to be skilled. You must be. If you are not, you are a sitting duck. They're bringing over illegals literally by the millions now. There's not going to be unskilled labor. There isn't now. They already wiped out unskilled labor for the men. See, the women been sitting up here bull jiving around and pretending like they had a skill set because they worked at a bank. But the bottom line is, for us men, we lost our construction jobs decades ago. So as females, as young people, the word of the day is skilled. You must be. You must be skilled. You have to be. In the chat room, they're correct. Right after that, you have to have a man. You're trying to get out here and hump it by yourself and slug it out on your own, and I'm going to be a disciplinary problem and this, that, and the other, and I know how to get along with white folks at their job, but I don't know how to get along with a black man in the home. Okay. Just remember, the white women where you work, they're not playing by those rules. They marrying Donald Trump. They're marrying, what's his name? Mitt Romney. They marrying Alex Jones. They got them a shark. These other folks up here talking this foolishness about liking somebody. These other women are like, hey, I want competence. I want competence and productivity. That's what's going to float me. So I would recommend that those be your priorities. If you do not have a skill set or a profession, something that you excel at, because if it's something you excel at, then by definition it's gaining more value. If you have that together, then yeah, everything else comes together. If you are trying to make it sit by itself, this will not work. You are young enough, you sound young enough where you need to have that. You need to be spending this time in your life right now cultivating that. If you are not cultivating being a specialist and an expertise at something, then it's going to be an extremely rough, long, ugly, and difficult life. I'll let you have the last word.
I have a talent, but I've focused on Plan B, went to school, graduated, and am back at square one. Literally went back to the worked a couple jobs and side jobs, anything I can get my hands on, DoorDash, retail, sales. And it feels like I'm back at square one because I went the Plan B route and I did like communications, which was a liberal arts degree until they changed it to multi-platform production at my school, but essentially a liberal arts degree, which
correct,
is not
which is
necessarily
not
the best
necessary.
degree
It's
to get
useless.
now.
It is useless. I will say again, you need to have a profession and an expertise in something you can use. If it's not STEM, medical, engineering, it's not going to do you any good. There is no getting around it. Everything else is a red herring. Everything else is work until you die. You're young enough now that you could still get it on the ball enough to be able to get it to work for you, but you don't have time. You do not have time to
Does
wait.
finance count?
No.
I'm sorry.
No. Finance, MBA, business administration, those don't count. And the reason they don't count is because those degrees don't help you unless you already have connections. You're not going to get that degree and then get connections. Those degrees are worthless unless you already have connections.
So what is it called? So science, technology, engineering, math. So what is it called when you study like you're a specialist? Because I find that I'm really interested in that, and a lot of people are doing that. Some people are just going on YouTube and doing that, and some people are actually.
No, I mean being a specialist simply means that you are in the top 10% of what you do. You know, if you're in the top 10% as soon as you get in class, you've been there for a year, you should be in the top 10% of test scores and everything else. If you are not, get ready to fail.
Yikes.
I suggest you get started.
Okie dokie.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 470. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Joe calling from Nashville.
Joe from Nashville, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, you touched on so many topics tonight, but I mean they're all ringing true. So I'm 39 years old, so I was just trying to get your perspective on a couple of things. Now I moved to Nashville as a medical sales rep. We kind of spoke before I moved here from Atlanta. So I make about 180, 185. I'm 39 years old. I just recently was offered another position that's about 275, but I still kind of worry about, what the next 20 years look like in terms of, is that going to be enough money? I don't have any kids. I'm not married. And, because the one thing, and I'll let you answer after this, the one thing I do admire is a lot of the men who have worked in corporate America, like my father, who maybe saved a few $1 million up. And just because they're in their 60s now, my dad's like, okay, what's next? Let's take my real estate game through the roof. You guys want to open the business doing this. So I'm wondering, like, what do you see for the type of trajectory that I'm on? That's one thing I wanted to ask. And the other thing was with the 50 Cent situation, I'm really starting to see a lot of that with even people who are younger than me, just the entitlement of things that are going on right now. So I'll let you answer the questions.
Okay, well, definitely where your father is concerned, if he started young, set those seeds, started laying that foundation, then yeah, by the time he gets in his 60s, he can take his foot off the gas now. He's set structures up that serve him, and now all he has to do is tweak them. He doesn't have to build them and put in the pylons and the foundations. It's already built. So now he's doing maintenance work. He's doing tweaking. He's not doing major construction. That's where you want to be when you get in your 50s and 60s. You don't want to be in a life or death situation where the structure still has to be built. That is why you must spend your 20s and 30s being an expert. Only an expert can charge a high salary. Only an expert can draw a high fee. And being able to draw above average fee and a higher salary, that is what allows you to build the structure more quickly. That allows you to build the structure more quickly. If you attempt to circumvent this in any way, That's a problem. Now, what is it exactly you do for a living?
So I'm a medical device rep. Now, I've recently recently offered a director's role.
Okay. Well, in your case, you're a little bit different there because you've been doing this for a minute. So definitely you can do that, brother. Here's the real thing about it. In the situation that you're in, you need to be focused on two things. Number one, socking away as much money as you can. You're making a good salary, but you need to be putting away as much of it as you can in the bank. Yes, keep increasing your skill set, your value to the company, and your salary. Absolutely. And you need to be socking the money away. That's what you need to be doing first and foremost. Make sure you are not cash poor. Make sure you are as flush with cash as you can be while you're still in a position and able to do that. Next is your credit. Your credit needs to be A1, and that means 800 or higher. You put those two together, and that's basically where you need to be. And by the time you have $250,000, $500,000 in the bank, you can decide what you want to do. You'll have a CPA, a banker, and a lawyer. You can sit down with them and start deciding what direction you want to go in. Since now you have the concrete liquid capital to do so, and when you have the credit to qualify to get them to go in on it with you, if that's what you choose to do. So that would be my recommendation to you.
Got it. And I'll leave you with this. You touched
One more thing. One more thing. If you did not want to do any of the above, you could always take the money and give it to a certified financial planner, and they could invest it for you. At the very least, you'd have the ability to do that. So you can have an index fund or whatever the case may be. But once you have like $500,000 or so, now if you don't feel comfortable doing any of those things, you could at the very least give it to a certified financial planner, and it'll be getting 5 to 7% a year.
Got it. I've actually been in contact with a certified financial planner to Dave Ramsey's people or whatever. So we're working I'm working on that right now.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would touch Dave Ramsey with a 10-foot stake, but okay. Y'all know how I feel about Dave, but okay. Well, you know how I feel about Dave, but definitely that may be an option for you.
Yeah. Well. But I didn't give them anything yet. But my other point was this, and like I said, I'm 39. I'll be 40 soon, and I had a situation where I was here, kind of lightly dating a young lady, like 29, 30 years old, and her family was just going in so hard. And I only dated her for a few months, and they were just going in so hard for, hey, we think you guys are perfect for each other, so get married. And, just lightly dating. How do you lightly date someone, sir? When I say lightly dating, I mean, one, I'm busy. And so I look at it like this. As a man, I know what I like. And so I'm going to be reaching out to a woman, hey, let me take you on a date. It was more so of, hey, when we get together, she's calling me, maybe every other Friday or whatever. So I was only seeing her like once every 2 weeks.
Okay. Here's the bottom line. You don't let a female nor her family dictate to you what the situation is going to be. If she's just a cool chick for you to hang out with, don't get her pregnant and do not get married to her. And let her know what the deal is. Hey, I'm stacking my paper right now. I'm about my business. I'm trying to make sure that I can retire by the time I'm 40, by the time I'm 45. That's where my focus is. My focus is not on marriage, children, or anything like that. If that's what you want, hey, it's been good and it's been real, and do whatever, make your decision. I've got, as far as those things, I haven't made any decision about that. So if that's a priority for you, I understand, but you have to let her know in no uncertain terms that you know what your mission is. You know what your purpose is. So she can make, and you tell her, I'm allowing you to make this decision with your eyes wide open. Now, your family's not going to push me into nothing. They're not going to pressure me into nothing. This is what it is. And if I decide at some point that you're the one, we'll go from there. But I am nowhere near saying anything like that right now. And you already know that. So them folk trying to apply all this pressure is not helping me. I'm on my mission. I'm going to stay on my game. That's what I'm going to stay on. Because ultimately, that's what you need me to do. If you were going to be my woman long term, that's what you need. Here's the real thing. It doesn't sound like you really fool with her for real like that. It doesn't sound like she's your girlfriend like that. So it really just needs to be, in that situation, I don't know why you're meeting her parents anyway. I don't know why. If you aren't meeting them, I don't know why she's why they're a factor in things. But just tell her straight up just what it is. This is what it is. And if she can accept that, that's cool. And if she cannot, that's cool too. But what she cannot be is a disruption to what you're doing. She can't be that.
Exactly. Well, I'll land my plane there. Jason, like I said, it's always been great. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 281. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Tony in Houston.
Tony in Houston, what's on your mind?
Well, I heard you earlier. I mean, you're on fire tonight. I'm the retiree from Houston, 66, August 10th. Everything you said about retiring and is very true. The younger people, I'm obviously one of the baby boomers, and the younger people, they're in big trouble. They're in very, very big trouble. I was obviously able to retire. I was in corporate America in various forms for over 45 years. I started in corporate America in newspaper advertising when all we had was a pencil, a phone with 3 lines, and a map. That's all we had on our desk. There were no computers. There was nothing. And now look what we have in technology today. God only knows what will be happening in this economy in another 30 years, which is not a long time.
Well, here's my thing.
They're transitioning to electric, and which they will be able to control your vehicle at that time. They can't control gasoline-powered vehicles, but they can control
actually, they can control gasoline-powered vehicles too. Sure, because what they have
control
is
how often you drive.
Yes, it can. No, sir. Okay, let me explain something to you all. Okay, you got I'm echoing on your phone over there too, Tony. By the way, so. But
that's fine. I'm on a landline, so I'm
not sure why that's going on there either, but it's echoing real bad on me here. But thank you for giving us a call here tonight. For those of you who don't know, for example, as you know, I've got General Motors products. The OnStar system that nobody uses, GM has rolled. For those of you who got GM products or whatever, you have OnStar, GM has probably sent you the letter like they sent the letter to me to let us know that now there's an app that we can all use. Just like Tesla and Lincoln and BMW, there's now an app we can all use now. And a lot of the remote functionality that you're used to on these other cars, they now basically have made a roundabout for it to be able to use it with OnStar. So you can lock and unlock the car. You can remote start it, all those features like that. Yes, you can. Now, OnStar has always been able to track the car. However, remember all these late model vehicles since 2015 or so, remember they've all got what they call driver assistance, lane keep assistance. Lane keep assistance is basically the car driving itself. Now, granted, it's not fully autonomous, but it can turn the steering wheel and increase the speed of the car or decrease the speed of the car on its own. It's already got collision avoidance, which will make the car slow down or stop on its own. So it's been had that ability. It's been had that. We don't need Teslas and Kias and electric cars for that. GM is reverse engineering these things on vehicles that have already had the OnStar, because I've never actually used my OnStar subscription, but the OnStar service and everything, it can do all that now. Only now they've got it set up where it can work through an app. You don't have to call the OnStar center. So we're already there. We've been there for a minute. Caller from area code 434. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Jason. My name is Jay Higgs. I'm calling out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right, Jay Higgs out of Raleigh. What's on your mind?
From someone who is a quality engineer that is a millennial, I'm on the younger side. I'm 25 years old. Just kind of starting out my career and everything like that. It is kind of rough. Now, granted, I'm not on bragging and all like that. I'm glad I picked the career that I picked and everything like that, because I would be struggling if I wasn't an engineer. I mean, I'm kind of struggling now, but I would be really, really struggling. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you have something that has upward mobility. You have something that even at entry level pays above, minimum scale. and you have something that you are able to scale up and improve over time as you go. So you're constantly able to refine its value and adjust its value upward. Somebody who works at a General Motors plant, what the wage is what the wage is. Somebody who works at General Electric or Boeing, what the wage is what the wage is. There's not really much they can do. They can't double what they're getting. There's a cap on what they can get, but they can't double it. No matter how good they get at building cars or assembling the airplanes, they can't double what they're getting. You could double what you're getting. That's a big difference for a worker.
Yes, sir. And I'll probably hit you up tomorrow on your Patreon because I have a few questions about this career move I'm thinking about making. I'll just talk to you on there.
Well, Okachekwu in the chat room wants you to holler at them also, so definitely thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller area code 843. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, TBA, Tobias out of Phoenix.
Tobias out of Phoenix. What's on your mind, brother?
Right, couple quick things. Y'all talking about Charleston, South Carolina. I was stationed out there back in the white tea era, the Nucky You Buck era, and the white people on base, there was already moving to Somerville, Mount Pleasant, those areas. I think it was Moss Corner, if I remember that, whatever it is. Goose Creek, that's the one. That's Goose Creek. And North Charleston was right by the base. That's kind of the hood, and no, that's going away. So these people have planning this forever. And I remember because my sister in Atlanta, her house was 300. She bought it 3 years ago, and people already trying to buy it 500. So the gravy train in Atlanta's been over for years. And I remember growing up in Alabama that a lot of black people thought Atlanta was a gravy train, and now it isn't anymore. And I think what happens, what they kind of tied in with like this 50 Cent situation, people don't understand. You got, in this day and age, your kids need a jump start as well, and you cannot blow that jump start for your kids. Because our black kids, too many of them are starting from zero. And in that situation, she calls them her boys start from zero. So now we got too many black kids starting from zero and expected to make it in an era where these companies are taking away, fighting on pensions. These companies are saying, everything's more expensive than when our parents came up. And they saying do it by yourself when life is a two-person job. It's hard by yourself. And I just think that, if I have kids, I want to make sure they're not starting from zero. Instead of like now they got to get a student loan and now they stuck paying that and all that stuff.
Brother, going forward here, I've been saying it for a decade. This generation better learn to collaborate. It better learn to innovate, and it better learn to persevere. You don't have any choice. You and I have watched in the last decade or so. Think about the changes that just happened in the last 2 years. Think about the monumental, as soon as things came off a lockdown, cranes every damn where. Cranes everywhere. And when you think about what's been happening here over just the last 15 years, you take a look at places like Denver, Colorado, and the light rail. Now, I think you got a light rail that's going from Miami to Orlando now in Florida. High-speed rail going there. Atlanta's trying to get its act together in that regard. We watched as a whole. It used to be just a couple of cities where it's like, wow, it's kind of expensive there. Now it's everywhere. Now you have this story everywhere in every state to greater or lesser extremes. But you have this everywhere now. And you better start projecting and looking forward. This is how bad it is in 2022, fresh out the pandemic. What's it gonna be like in 8 years? I didn't say 10, I didn't say 20. What's it gonna be like in 5 years? When some of this stuff they doing really gets built out. Hudson Yards finally gets fixed. Some of these high-speed rails they want to do finally get done. What's it going to be? Some of these subdivisions and things. What's it going to be like then?
Yep.
You're already catching hell today.
Yeah. And also, like you were talking about earlier, think about how much food has gone up. Simple stuff for food. I'm talking about even the store brand stuff. Gas, cars, to even get to work costs you more now. And like college isn't getting cheaper. And that student loan debt will cripple you. That's one reason why parents gotta make, especially black parents, make sure their kids aren't starting from zero, where they aren't crippled by that debt. And one thing I do want to touch on, that whole 50 Cent thing. Think about this. This man was, my mama even said that woman was stupid. She should have taken that bread and kept her mouth shut. But it's like, that kid could have had so many opportunities for himself. He could have been the one playing 50 Cent child character and like that book of Canaan on Power. He could have had many opportunities presented his way. But acting like his mama, running his mouth, one, child support between the parents. Kids shouldn't even be talking about that. But look at how many opportunities he squandered by acting like his hood rat mama. And look at what she squandered from could have been how he set them up. Because think about this. How many women out there will give their right arm to get $25K a month off the books, or even $6,700 off the books for their kids? They won't have to pay for college. He wouldn't even have to get a business. Like, he get a business loan, but he still has seed money to get started and fund that business. Look at what they blew. They pretty much had a golden ticket and threw it in the trash. And I want our women and our kids to learn from that. Once you get that golden ticket, don't blow it, because he ain't gonna get it back. And what incentive does he have to do for either one of them? The guy's 26. The mama ain't been together forever. He don't have to give them a damn thing, but his life is still going swimmingly. Just let that be a lesson out there.
Brother, if you don't learn these lessons early, I mean, that's why I'm trying to say, hey, you better learn these lessons now. You better learn the character traits and things now. It's a hell of a road to hoe. Think about that, brother. She's in New York. New York is more expensive than it has ever been. And she kissed off her meal ticket 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that for a few moments here. The average rent in Manhattan now is over $4,000. And she kissed off her meal ticket decades ago. Decades. And she obviously is not. You can see how venomous and spoiled and whiny and pissy her son is. You can see how bad he is. That tells you what her state of mind, her emotional condition is. She's angry and mad and bitter as hell because of mistakes that she made 25 years ago. She is going to pay for the rest of her life with stupid, dumb, avaricious, bullheaded, frog-faced decisions that she made 2 decades ago.
Yeah, and you're right. And look at the black male like Ice Cube. He put his son on. Will Smith, we know he's fat crap crazy, but he put his son on with opportunities. Some of our athletes, black male athletes, have done that. And I just think that they didn't see the long game. She could just took her butt to Atlanta 25 years ago, or Charlotte, and been straight at those prices back then. It would have been straight. But you cannot take the hood rat, short change, quick buck mentality out of people. And look what happens when he turned the spigot off. Because why in the hell would he keep doing for grown folks who disrespect him? It's, that's showing you power dynamics. And people keep saying, well, he should make a relationship with him. The guy's 26 years old taking pictures with people who try to kill him, kill his father, talking mess about him on Instagram. You're 26. You're a grown-ass man. And there ain't nobody feeling sorry for you because there are plenty of 26-year-old black males who will love that opportunity right now to get $6,700 to do something. So it just shows how these kids could be corrupted by having the wrong people in their homes. Because he could have done so much more with what he had, but they squandered it. And he's going to be just like, it's kind of like an athlete who had $100 million contract and went broke. That's what it seems like.
Now his mother's lifelong failure has become his. His mama was the only one paying the bill and paying the price. Now he's going to pay it for no reason. For absolutely no sane, justifiable reason whatsoever. He's going to be just another millennial Gen Zer out here. By the way, with his mama. He's become the son husband. Because he talks more like a boyfriend than a son. He's become that. At an early age. And 50 is just like, I'm a guy who doesn't have kids, but I can understand. 50 is like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this nigga? What y'all want me to do with this? What am I supposed to do with him at 26 years old? What am I supposed to do with this? Because let's also be clear, when he talks about wanting to spend time with his father, do you think he wants to spend time with his father so that he can learn to be the replica of his father? Or do you think he's thinking like a hoe? Well, if I can get next to him, I can squeeze some more money out of him.
You're right. And think about this. He could have been working with him on power. His business ventures could be soaking up game, getting in front of people, got the seed capital to do his own thing. Because just think about that. He's talking about $600-700 a month. He could have been living with that man right now or being in the area and being with him in front of the stuff. Because I don't know the last time 50 Cent dropped a rap album, folks. That's how you know he's building. This man dropped an album in 15 years, I think. It got to be like around that time. He doesn't even rap like that. That just shows you right there what this kid squandered. Because this man reinvented himself. And even with power, look how many people he gave jobs to. Look at Ice Cube. How many people he gave jobs to. He put his son on. His son is doing well. So I just think that people, one bad decision can mess up everything you have. Because you see the ones out there who fathers are putting them on compared to the ones who ain't getting put on. If 50 Cent is treating his kid like the real world, you're going to talk crazy about me, you're going to act a fool, I ain't got to do nothing for you. If you on the street, so be it.
Sometimes it got to be that way. If your mama is bad and rotten and you've taken after her to that extent, what do you expect? Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now let me get caller from area code 443. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason. Brother Craig from Baltimore.
All right, Craig from Baltimore. What's on your mind?
Just piggybacking from your previous callers about this, about the current economy and the rate of inflation. And as I look at what happens every day and listen to some deep discussions about it, a lot of people they know things are high, but a lot of people don't pay attention to things like the consumer price index or the Federal Reserve when they decide to raise a point and the impact that it has across the whole economic system as far as paying bills and paying on things. One thing, I was looking at CNBC this afternoon, situation as far as labor is concerned, that if they don't put a clamp on, if you remember about a month ago, the railroad workers were about to go on strike. And now so they came to a little negotiation, but the unions have to ratify it. But there are a couple unions who are holding back. And if they don't get it finalized in the next couple of weeks, if the railroad shuts down, that's it for the economy, especially for supply chain. Another thing that's also a concern in the community, I know the previous caller was talking about the state of California. And I know a while back you were talking about black masculinity in media. One brother who told us back in 1993 that we were going to be in this situation that Hollywood has blackballed because he stood for black manhood. A brother I really have a lot of reminders for is Avery Brooks. And Avery Brooks did a classic episode on Star Trek called Past Tense, where he showed the sanctuary district, where in San Francisco, California, if you're out of a job or you don't have your ID, you get put to a section of San Francisco where you're isolated from the wealthy and the affluent, until they had a ride that was led by a black man to overcome the issues of poverty in America.
Well, I certainly like historical anecdotes, although you are dealing with a machine, with a mechanism that refines itself over time. So please understand, you're not dealing with a dumb machine. This is a smart one. And its whole strategy is to make you feel or believe that you found a way to circumvent it when you haven't. These folks made it very clear what they're going to do. California is too big, too rich, too prosperous, too well off to allow, you know, the folks who fallen through the cracks and things. It's like, oh no, you got to go. You got to go. We're just going to round you up. We're going to put y'all on a bus. Don't worry, we're taking them somewhere better. Just like the governor of Texas and the governor of California rounded up the illegals. California is going to round up the homeless folk and the people who can't be there and whatnot. It's like, they're going to be like, hey, y'all got to go. Y'all got to just go. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. They're just going to tell them, hey, you're out of here. Let me get caller area code 323. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, big brother Jason. This is brother Elijah calling out of Brooklyn, New York.
Elijah out of Brooklyn, what's on your mind?
Brother, you're a great prophet. Wonderful broadcast tonight. Thank you. I got a question because you said something that hit home. I'm a millennial because I'm 38 years old. I got a question because you was mentioning this to a caller earlier when you was talking about the immigrants. Do you think with us black millennials, I'll say, if not most or maybe all of us, do you think with the way they're bringing in these immigrants, do you think they're just going to outright replace us in all job fronts altogether? And I'll land my plane there.
Well, technically speaking, they already have. Texas, California, Florida, New York, effectively they already have. What they want to do now is make sure that it locks into place, which is why they're having to bring in more of them to try to lock it in, because usually by the time they get to the second or third generation, they're more American than whatever they were when they came from. So that's why you have to keep replenishing the ranks so that you can go ahead and do that. That's why they're trying to bring over so many, so many of these black immigrants who are not descendants of slaves. That's why they keep doing that to the point they're trying to. Now, there's the real replacement to be taking a look at. They want to replace the native black population with an immigrant black population that doesn't have a bone to pick against racism, white supremacy, or anything else, and will actually support it. They'll actually support it.
Yes,
like that lieutenant governor of Virginia. They're like, as far as they're concerned, that's the perfect black person right there. You take a look at that woman, that lieutenant governor of Virginia. As far as they're concerned, she is the quintessential example of the black person they want in America. Right there. That's who they want. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, let me get caller area code 832. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Robert Higgins from Houston, Texas.
Robert Higgins from Houston. What's on your mind?
I had two things. I've heard Dr. Claude Anderson talk about how we only make up maybe 0.5% or 0% of the nation's wealth. Would this right now be the time to where we start teaching our children before it's too late, or if it's even late, to pair up and to be wives and to be husbands at this point?
Well, I mean, any day would be fine for that. I mean, the best time would have been 10 years ago. The second best time would be today. So absolutely. And any time we can do that, that is always welcome. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 901. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? This is Elliot from Memphis.
All right, Elliot from Memphis. What's on your mind?
I wanted to hit on the whole 50 Cent thing. You know, it's an interesting time now where all the social norms and manners are being flipped, where some of the things men have been saying for years are now coming into mainstream, and the stories are coming to light. 50's one, Earthquake, the comedian, his situation is coming to light too, about, you know, him being diligent and paying his child support. And now that he's done his time, that the women are crying out as if something has been done wrong to them and they've been deprived. And but getting back to the 50 situation, we all know that boy has been broken by the mama. We all know this, and it's just shedding a light into what men have been saying for years, and the reality of it. And I hope that it tells the men who are coming up now, who are going through the situation, if you get your situation straight, you know, you button up everything, you can have your element of power to where you can kind of call hands and have more power in your situation instead of being the victim. That's all I got.
Well, you know, first and foremost, you have to want that, though, because here's the real thing. Males who desire power, wealth, influence, and control over themselves don't avail themselves to be victimized in those kinds of ways. They don't avail themselves to that in the first place. In 50 Cent's case, he only had one kid in that regard. But, you know, then you take a look at some of your athletes and stuff. They've always been a reliable source of silliness. But as far as the average dude out there and whatnot, for the most part, the males are not really dropping a bunch of crazy kids like that and things. So as far as the ones who are producers, it's really, this is the easiest trap in the world to avoid. It really, really is. This is the easiest trap in the world to avoid. Sometimes some folks are just too dumb to be able to save themselves. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now let me get caller from area code 904. You're on Live with the Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing? This is David Smalls from Jacksonville, Florida.
All right, David from Jacksonville. What's on your mind?
I have two questions for you, Jason. I've listened to your program for a little bit. One, I'm a black teacher in the public school system, and I deal with these type of kids on a daily. What is your suggestion that I can do to help these young men understand the dynamic that they're about to walk into?
Okay, now what kind of young men?
Single mothers, fathers not in the home, being raised to be entitled, to not take accountability for themselves for what they do.
Depending on their age, it has been my experience that these young men understand and know where their mama is messed up at. Usually that's the only question you have to ask. And then you have to be an ear that listens. But usually all you got to do is ask them, what's the biggest mistake your mother's made? Are there any of you here who feel like your mom's decisions to put you behind the eight ball? And if so, how so? And then shut up and listen. And they'll tell you the rest. But it's generally been my experience, like as long as they're in the cult with the cult leader and she's standing right there, they're going to be little soldiers. But if you can get them away from her and you ask them what they honestly think they know. It's really about making them comfortable enough that they can say what they know. But they know.
Okay. And then my second question would be, as a school teacher all across this country, you know we don't make a lot of money. What would your suggestion be to help, honestly, just black teachers or black male teachers to get up and be in that producing category? Because obviously as a teacher, it's a quote unquote calling, but you're broke.
Okay, I'm not exactly understanding what you mean. Is like how you have more influence with them?
No. As far as money-wise, the money as far as what can a teacher do? Because obviously as a teacher in America, we don't make a lot of money just on average. What can a teacher do to supplement, to help out, to basically put him in a category that's not an average teacher pay? Basically put him into that upper 10%, if you will.
Okay, now you're talking about putting the teacher into that or putting the kids into that?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the teacher.
Because there's the thing. I mean, is that as a
right,
but as a teacher, like I say, you're a state employee. So I mean, right there, the parameters and confines are built right there. So As long as somebody is a teacher can really only leverage their brilliance. So if you're a very good teacher, which really means being a very good communicator, that's really the only thing they have. Other than that, you have to go outside the profession. You know, it's like teaching is kind of like politics. It's really limited, and it's limited for a reason. So those are really be the only options you have. You can't make them pay you more. So you kind of max out within the structure itself. So if you're in the structure, you have to take the limitations, in which case you have to be a brilliant teacher to have value beyond your income.
Got it.
And that happens all the time, too.
All right. Well,
and that happens all the time, too, by the way. You can be a very good teacher and command the respect of your students in that regard if you're brilliant, but you have to be very good, you know.
Correct. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Six Goddess in the chat room there. I want her to give us a call up here. She can go ahead and give us a call up here. We'll give her a couple of minutes to be on the line. If she isn't, then we'll give her a couple of minutes to permanently exit the building, whichever which way you go. That works perfectly fine there as well. But yeah, we want to go ahead and do that also. We've been talking tonight here about millennials and Gen Z. Man, I'm telling y'all, 10-year car notes, 40-year mortgages, $3 million requirement in your bank account in order for you to be able to retire. You think you can haul that kind of weight on your own? You think you can drag that kind of weight by yourself? You think you're going to make that happen on your own? No way. No way. You're going to be crushed. You're going to be destroyed. Your dreams are going to be the first things that die. That's the crazy part. That's the criminal part of it. Your dreams will be the first thing that die. Those are going to get destroyed and die long before you ever get there. Your dreams will be the first casualties of war. Your ability to dream will be the first casualty of war. When you starting this out with all these infinite possibilities, which is what the young are possessed of, are infinite possibilities. You're going to start out with these infinite possibilities, and then you are going to watch as the world very quickly starts to chip away at them and then stamps on them and crushes them. That's the issue. To be at a young age and to already watch them knocking huge chunks off of what you can expect to do at an early age. That's how you destroy the soul. That's how you destroy the soul and crush the spirit there. And then when you start trying to solve the equation and then you realize there is no end in sight, it's just a long, dark tunnel. But there isn't actually an end on it. You just work until you die. Now, if you've been listening to the wrong people, they're going to tell you you can pull this by yourself. Let me tell y'all something. The single mama mammies of the 90s, you can't listen to them hoes. Their rent was half what your rent is, or a third of what your rent is today. Some heifer back when they used to actually have Section 8 vouchers and WIC vouchers, trying to tell you you can do it by yourself. She was still running around back during the Bill Clinton welfare WIC Manny voucher days. Back when you actually could get a Section 8 apartment or a whole damn house on Section 8, trying to tell you what you can do today. She's totally out of touch. The whole damn thing done changed. They done cleaned up the streets, the section. There's no more Section 8 housing. Nobody wants that crap. The WIC vouchers, get the hell out of here. Hell, they don't even want your kids in the schools. While your auntie with her 6 bastard kids who are all grown on drugs now, trying to tell you about how easy this would be. Well, you can do it by yourself, baby. She didn't do it by her damn self. She did it with public assistance for 30 damn years while she's trying to tell you what you can do. Trying to tell you how it's going to be for you today. and she's not living it. Trying to teach you from the perspective of a world that doesn't even exist anymore. She was a hard head, and now she's going to have to work till she dies, living in her little old crappy ass cottage, and you looking at that, and you don't have a sense enough to say, you know what, let me not end up like this. Let me do something different. And this goes for the men as well. For the fellas out there, I understand how it is. You're out here, you're running the streets, you're running them roads, you sitting up here trying to get it. I understand. You're out here trying to get it. I understand that. When it comes to females, you'll be like, let me have my fun. Some of y'all were raised by single mother hoes. That's where that let me have my fun comes from. A man ain't supposed to be trying to have fun. A man's supposed to be rock hard about the business. He is supposed to be rock-ribbed and solid about the business. And what you're supposed to have around you are people. If you're going to have a female around you, it needs to be a female who accentuates and modifies and enhances your ability to take care of the business. Not one who distracts you from it, but one who focuses you on it. So that you can have the life you're supposed to have. She is not supposed to drive you, but she can certainly motivate you. And if you can take care of you and reward her, then all you got to do is scale it up from there. But fellas, I know a bunch of y'all get out here and you get distracted. And I know because I was that dude, 22 years old. I got distracted too. Lost everything, lost all the money. Been there, done that, lived it. Which is why I can tell you, hey, that's just a waste of damn time. That's a waste of time. Stay focused on the mission. That will be there for you every day. That will be there. That is what you're building. And it's very easy to sit up here and just say, man, let me just lay up with all the chicks, man. That's a distraction. Find you one cool chick who knows her place and enhances what you're doing, and you rock with her. If she starts becoming a disciplinary problem, cut her from the team and draft a new one. But don't sit up here and, I'm running around and you got a chick who's solid and you got a chick who is stable and you trying to run the streets. You trying to sit up here and, quote, have fun. Damn that. Get focused. Stay focused. And if she enhances your focus and everything is straight and she's solid, she's with your program. She isn't trying to interject her own. She's with your program. That's what you keep on the team. That's what you keep on the team. I'm going to take one more caller here. Let me get caller from area code 708. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Sean, Chicago.
Okay, Sean in Chicago. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I got two on three-way, but he ain't saying nothing. But anyway, I had heard the other day about some orange juice shortage in Florida, something like that, or California, wherever the orange juice come from. It was going to be a shortage in orange juice. Then I was thinking to myself that it was really a thing about us getting food. Like the people, they ain't had a water in Mississippi. It was then Georgia be running out of water all the time. And then the baby formula issue. And then they was talking about how the vegetables were scarce. I was trying to figure out when this happened, is we supposed to be learning how to grow some food or whatever? Or if somebody could touch on this about...
Do you know how?
And then... wait a minute.
Sean.
Wait a minute. Let me
Sean, do
yes?
you know how?
Mm-hmm.
You asked.
Do I know how to grow some food?
Yeah, you asked a question. Do you know how?
No, I don't know how to grow no grapes or none of that. No.
Okay, then do you think maybe that would be a problem then?
I think it's a problem for all of us.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then in that case, you might want to start learning, you think?
That is so true.
All right. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight, Sean. we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I've been going through my messages on Patreon, so we're getting ready to have Patreon here tomorrow as well. The last couple of programs, I'm going to get those up tonight. So for those of you who missed the last couple of programs on Patreon, because I didn't post them, lot been going on. I've been recovering and things, so I'd forgotten to get those up there since I've been dealing with all that. But gonna have that taken care of you all here for tonight, so be looking for that as well. We're gonna be having Patreon here 12 noon Central Standard Time tomorrow. I want to thank all of you for joining us here on The Business. If you are new here to The Business, welcome to the program that laid the foundation upon which all of your favorite YouTubers have been stealing, fraudulent, and gonna be rewriting this kind of stuff. This is the place they get it from. So make sure that you click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell, join us each and every time. If you haven't joined us on Patreon, the link is in the description. Join us here tomorrow. You get to talk with me one-on-one, long format. Very good for that as well. A lot of new things we have coming up here as well. Also, I'm glad you all like the changes. More are coming. So be keeping your eyes and ears open for that as well. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.